Welcome.
Welcome. Welcome.
He almost bollocksed it. Welcome, my friends, and welcome back to the Krieg Dominion. I am Omar Krieg, your Lord and Commander of the Krieg Dominion, and your host this evening for our 6th episode of Segmentum Second of Crowns and Scepters, a 40K Rogue Trader Tithes of Acheron show. That's a mouthful of titles, and you should see the title window. I get 99 characters, and I use 89 of them
You
when
should
putting
you
this
should
into
put my
YouTube.
full you should put my full name and awards titles in the title.
No, it wouldn't fit.
That's what she said.
Yeah, it's way too early for that. It's okay.
Hey!
Oh my
banned
goodness.
from
I am in a
Twitch.
weird
Banned
kind of
from
mood. And I don't know
Can I
what's
get you
going
banned
on
from
here.
Twitch? I'm sorry, I didn't think that was.
No, that's just too early in the stream for me. Let's check in with people, see what's new and exciting. It's been a couple weeks. We'll start with Rev, mostly because we just want to put him in a hole somewhere. I mean, in a box.
Hey.
No, wait, actually, yeah, no, that checks out. Rev, what's new and exciting for you?
Well, I am back from a trip to Austin, where I visited the Lady Bird Johnson Wildflower Museum, or sanctuary. It's more of an outdoor thing. But interestingly, 3 or 4 hours in the kitchen leaves me just totally wrecked and not wanting to be on my feet for hours. But that's standing in one place. But walking around, I was expecting to be miserable when I was done, but walking around, I felt fine afterwards.
Okay.
I was really surprised at how well I held up to hiking.
Okay.
But I'm back home now, trying to get my schedule back on track and get back to the gym.
Darius? What's new and exciting for you? I will let you choose whether to address or not address the elephant in the stream call. I'm sorry, I can't. I hope you know that I don't mean anything bad by any of the crap I talk. I talk a lot of crap, and I definitely make jokes constantly. I never truly mean to offend people. I just recognize that I may have sometimes.
Well, Enter Ohio went great. We had an abnormally great turnout.
Okay,
The tabletop gaming room was jam-packed
that's awesome.
almost the entire time.
Did you throw out my business card anywhere? I'm joking. I don't have business cards.
Why would I?
Because you're only on 2 of my shows, you jerk.
Well, I threw out my business cards.
It's okay. Listen, I was making a joke.
You didn't say, and when you hand him the business card, and hey, you can see me live on Twitch on
Omar's channel.
Nope. Can't say that I did.
Marketing opportunity lost.
Great. Who's Omar again? Yeah.
Yeah, who's Omar?
Lose 5 profit factor.
I think I talked about Revival Divergence with somebody, but
nice. Well, I think you were there more. Well, no, because this was the open. It was a furry convention with a TTRPG board game room, and
yes,
or something like that, wasn't it? That's what it was.
With a board gaming room.
That's it. Yeah, yeah. Obviously, TTRPGs clearly fall in the board gaming category.
As we can all clearly see, I did have an accident during the con.
Oh, I didn't even notice. God damn, I'm horrible. I'm sorry. Let me just shut up and let you tell the story. I'm going to shut up.
Basically, I was in the hotel. I took a few steps and passed out, hit my head on a TV stand.
Ouch.
All the appropriate reporting has been done, and it was 12 stitches. But, which I'm getting out tomorrow.
Oh, well, that's good. So they didn't give you the ones that just like dissolve, or are those more typically for like internal stitches?
Those are for internal.
Yeah. As soon as I said it, I was like, hold on, no, that would make sense. They would want to take the external ones out.
Yeah.
All right. Alterios, I hear you're a bit busy, but you don't have to tell us anything more than you want to. But other than that, what's new and exciting for you, my friend?
Nothing much new. Had lunch with a former work friend, and a bunch of fun. So
Is there a romance angle I should or should not be playing up right now?
no,
Okay.
there's just
I'm sorry.
we
Really...
both suffered under a terrible boss. So
Oh, trauma bonding. Got it.
yeah,
Trauma bond. Best bond.
yep,
It's absolutely not the best bond.
sure it is.
It's a very effective bond.
It saves on the therapy.
Well, yeah, there is that. I mean, obviously, if it works for the military, it must work for everybody, right?
Right?
Jesus
Well,
Christ.
IT has its own form of PTSD, from what I hear.
What's that?
Ugh.
IT has its own form of
Oh,
PTSD.
God, IT is like the bastard stepson of customer service and service industry.
It really depends on what part of IT. Because
That's
if you're on
true.
service desk, it's worse.
Well, I think that's the pinnacle of the customer service industry IT world. Like where that's the Venn diagram where the three circles meet, and that is the absolute eye of the hurricane, in a not very calm sort of way. I'll tell you this. I'm sorry, I'm walking all over your
No,
shit
that's
here.
fine. That was basically it. Nothing really new besides studying for this exam.
And how important is this exam? Is this like a couple of college credits? Is this a
Um,
recertification, job pending sort of thing? What?
I needed to get my degree, so I guess that's
Okay.
important.
Oh, that works. Oh, look at that. NVIDIA is telling me I have yet another driver to update.
I had a service desk like situation where I'm walking somebody through a problem, and then I went, wait. When you switch the RAM sticks around to check for a bad stick of RAM, you did unplug it, right?
Oh no.
Oh, like unplugging the computer before pulling the RAM out?
Right. And they said, well, I turned it off.
I mean, that's a good starting point.
Mhm.
I'm not
Anyway.
a computer expert, but I feel like if you're going to go into the guts of the computer, you might want to make sure it has zero power coming into it, no matter
Yeah.
whether it's on or off.
Yeah. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, anyone watching the stream, if you wish to mess with any of the chips with inside of a computer, not only should you turn it off, but you should remove the power cable from the back, and even, wear a few things to help you protect from static. Don't work on your computer wearing socks on a shag carpeted floor. Take some precautions. And this has been your PSA for the day.
Warner, that brings it up to you. What's new and exciting for you, my friend?
So, as we know, I am a giant nerd. And
I didn't know your size, but now I do.
Crusader Kings 3 just got the Cons of the Steppe expansion, and that makes me very, very happy.
Now
because
it's
get your horse lord on.
Oh yeah, that's interesting. I have Crusader Kings 3, and I think one of the problems I had with it versus 2 was either in my first playthrough I magically became the king of Britain in a very short order of time, because I like when I play these kinds of games, I like starting out kind of small and then gradually working my way up. And I started off as like a county lord or something to that effect, so like an earl or a jarl. And through marriage and the plot, became the king all of a sudden. And I was like, oh, that's a little faster than I was ready for, and I'm not sure how I want to proceed now.
CK3 has a number of, we'll call them difficulties. If you want to cheese the game, you can absolutely cheese the game.
I don't remember having it on particularly difficult, but certainly not on particularly easy either.
But there are also things that can be done to make things harder. If you're starting in the British Isles, if you start in the earliest start, 867.
Yeah, you've got Vikings all over.
Then yeah, you've
rough.
got not only Vikings, but Vikings with huge personal retinues of special event troops.
Yeah, it's rough. It is very rough because it's like, and then you try to raise your army, and it's like, no, that's cute. Go sit down.
But my farm is old.
Yeah, it's like, and then
Like-
and then Vikings just continue trolloping through everything.
You're like, my levies are
300.
300 people.
I have-
Their special event, Raider Huskarl troops are
1,600.
2,000.
Yeah, it's a ridiculous off balance.
Going to just die here.
Yeah, your only option at this point really is like diplomacy. Oh, you're just gonna burn and
So-
pillage everything. Okay, fine, you win. It's
Um,
rough. Because I play. That's the because when it comes to a game like Crusader Kings, I want to go as far back as I can to have the longest play time, and I've never gone very far. Excuse me,
my
very
last
far.
campaign before the Horse Lord campaign, I started in Georgia, which is hard mode
Sure.
because you're right next to the Byzantines and the Abbasids.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. That's
And-
trouble.
And
Why would some minor players like that trouble you?
I
Mm,
created the
Mm.
Kingdom of Georgia, and I started pushing my way up into the Caucasian realm, and
the urge to make a joke is really strong right now. Please continue.
yeah, well, through the Alans and all that jazz.
Georgia's
Anyway.
for the Caucasians.
Where I was going.
Got yeah. For those who are not familiar with the game, the Kingdom of Georgia is on the southern border of the Caucasus Mountains, but the Kingdom of Caucasia is on the northern border of the Caucasus Mountains. Anyway, and then I got a Viking invasion, and I was like, "What are the Vikings doing over here?"
Those goddamn
But-
boats. Those goddamn longboats, man.
They
But
did do some Black Sea raiding, but
luckily enough, one of the options that you can do is if you've got an extra piece of territory, it has to be your territory, so you are giving up something. But I had just won a county and not handed it off to a count yet, and I was like, yes, take this land, become my vassal.
Hey, vassalage is a
And
wonderful thing.
suddenly I have a real high military, real high prowess vassal with special event troops that are still not gone. And I'm like, something tells me the Khazars aren't going to be bothering me anytime soon.
Oh man, yeah. So I have CK3, and I don't know what expansions. Probably only the very first few, because I haven't played it in a while. I've actually been
Wrath
thinking
of
about
the
getting back
Northmen.
in. I've been thinking about getting back into it. It's just I've got so many other things going on that supersede that, but that is pretty cool. I played CK2 a lot, but I also ended up playing a lot of the Forgotten Realms mod,
Mhm.
and also the Game of Thrones mod. Forgotten Realms
Oh,
mod,
yeah.
I was doing pretty good for a while. I forget exactly where I was. I wasn't that far from what's the 10 Dales or Vales or whatever the heck. I want to say it's the Dale Lands, but now I'm thinking it's not actually called that. But
Are you talking about the Vale? Like the Vale of Aaron?
well, no, that's Game of Thrones. I'm thinking of Forgotten Realms.
Oh, Forgotten Realms. You're talking Icewind Dale. Yeah.
Well, no, not Icewind Dale. If you come down, because that's 10 towns, but there's the one that has like all of these different dales, real close to each other, like Battledale, Shadowdale, a few others, a bunch
It's
of
been a
others.
while since I've done anything Forgotten Realms.
Yeah, it's as you can tell, it's been a while for me as well because I can't remember half of
Oh.
that stuff. But there was like some different territories. I ended up somehow becoming a half moon elf. It was like I was actually playing pretty good, and I started like getting somewhere, and then I found the mod for Game of Thrones and started playing that. And then later I found CK3 and started playing that, and then just kind of fell off of all of it. At any rate, let's play our version of Crusader Kings, because we have similar events or elements there. Previously, on Tithes of Acheron of Crowns and Scepters, yes, I totally did just skip over anything new and exciting for me, and I really don't have anything except I've had a couple of doctor's appointments. I'm on blood pressure medication now. Shocker this may be, I actually have slightly elevated blood pressure, so now I'm on the lowest dosing of lisoprednisolol. I'm totally butchering that and somewhat intentionally. Yeah, let's get going here. Previously on Tithes of Acheron of Crowns and Scepters, having crossed the warp from Achelos, where the crew learned of the bloody attack and massacre of the Achelos Void Station, the ferry has arrived at last at Regius, throne world of the Vambrese domain. In a long time coming, the prince has returned to claim his throne and reassure his people that once more their sovereign sits his seat. And I took some small pleasure in writing that line. I don't know why, but I did.
Because sovereign sits seat is pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely a feudal thing to say. By feudal,
also,
I mean like feudalism, not futile.
Alliteration is the best.
Yes, alliteration is best iteration. It sounded so fucking bad. Oh my god. Sometimes I just destroy my own self. That's crazy. Alright, so we have a number of events to take place here. A number of things that need to be done in order for us to say that the Book of Crowns and Scepters may then be closed. I'm going to give you a number of them and a very, very quick snapshot of what that might entail, and then we can figure out when they'll be played. A couple of them can't be played right away. I want you to think something similar to a nodal map in a video game, and you can't quite go to some of the nodes until you've completed other nodes first. So, we have meeting with the local nobility. Probably should take place the soonest, and it is exactly what it sounds like. Status of the domain. Probably should take place very soon, but absolutely has to have meeting with the local nobility first. My scroll wheel is not working as well as I would like it to. Let's see what else we've got. Oracle of the Void. That should take place probably after the meeting and the status of the domain, but should probably take place. Also, it's entirely optional. It will add a lot of flavor and background and lore and world building type stuff, but at the end of the day, not now, absolutely required.
Oracle of the Lore is essentially the side quest that my navigator has asked for assistance with. Yes.
The Oracle of the Void.
The Oracle of the Void is the oracle that is reputed to have been one of the last. Well.
Oh, yeah.
Not necessarily one of the last people your mom saw, but she talked to him before she head off on her fateful mission.
The one who foretold my mother's demise.
Correct. And then, of course, we have, obviously, the coronation, and then a matter of gifts. Then let's call it a strategy session that will set the tone, direction, and path for the segmentum that follows of Crowns and Scepters. So to reiterate, just so we can stay on track here, we have meeting with the nobility, the status of the domain, the Oracle of the Void, the coronation, and the matter of gifts, and then the strategy session. Strategy session is kind of a misnomer and is not exactly 100% in character. It's more of like how do you want to proceed with the game. Intended to be done in character, but some out of character elements may be thrown in there just for simplicity's sake.
So, as we are on approach to the planet, I will be through the Seneschal and others arranging meetings with whoever is relevant to meet with on the planet, and receiving dossiers on individuals that I need to know about in advance if I do not already know about them.
So you want to meet with the Seneschal, presumably while still in final approach orbit mode. Is that what I'm hearing? I was also trying to do something at the very same time that you were saying this.
Right. Well, no.
I know I cannot multitask.
some of that is through the seneschal, but I will essentially be doing prep work on who I'm supposed to meet with, who they are, what their functions are,
Yes.
and setting up said meetings once we're in communications range.
Okay. So Marcellus, let's do this.
And also probably some discussions with Thale about who his replacement will be as my seneschal once he takes his position after my coronation.
Correct. So let's imagine for the moment in your not day cabin, in your office, study, whatever, Thale and you and whomever else you might want to call in as the ship settles into orbit around your home world. My lord, the Council of Nobles is ready to receive you at your leisure. This will be a mostly informal, formal affair. You see he's kind of stumbling a little bit. He's trying to figure out how best to explain it. He says this will be obviously formal for those there, but this will not be, telecast to the world. This will just be you, the council, and about it. They will be welcoming you and introducing themselves to you so you know who your counselors are and who was here to support you, your advisors, etc., as well as to lay in the final plans, I'm sure, for the coronation.
And just so that I'm personally straight between episodes, Vitamar is where my mother died, and Omaris is essentially our agrarian world.
Correct.
All right, are there any dramatis personae of note that I need to know aboard the planetary administration? Is most of that going to be handled by the soon-to-be governor?
You will be meeting with them, Lord Commander, but I can give you a quick summary. You have, of course, myself, who will be taking over the role of the Governor of the Heights. There is Lord Torrent Giltmark, the Lord of Merchants, effectively your treasurer. There is Lord Commander Renton Deal, Commander of the Regis Guard and Master of War. You have Lady Amona Passer, the spiritual leader of our domain. There is Cora de Mesa, Lady of the Underhive, and Lord Bergeron de Gronsall, Lord of the Crofters Union. These two work mostly hand in hand in deriving and producing the Regius output. These are the primary members of the council.
On Discord, maybe?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. So, give me a moment while I do that, because it's gonna be some real quick. If you
do it on Discord instead of in game, it'll be easier for me to transcribe.
Yep. Current shows. Yes, this one. Nope, that's the wrong channel. All right, here we go. So let's see. I'm gonna skip one. Hopefully, I don't do any spoilers here, like I did last time. I just did that. Let's see. Yeah, I guess we can. There and then forward. Let's see. We can take that line out for sure. Totally not living away that I have things I'm removing from these paragraphs. And this one. Okay. All right. So there is brief blurbs for the individuals that comprise your primary. I don't know. I didn't really come up with a specific name. It's just this is your council of nobles, the nobility that answer directly to you. presumably there would be others, you know, of lower stature beneath them. You get I imagine Thale is giving you a data slate, and the physical descriptions can be determined based on what you see as part of their dossiers or whatever.
Okay.
And then Thale
If
says
anybody
that.
else-
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. I was going to ask if anybody needed more time to read over what Omar wrote.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a little bit.
Thale does mention that the council is apprised of your situation and ready to receive you as soon as you come down to the surface. That in fact, effectively, they are waiting for you at this point.
All right. Well, then I suppose we should land and meet with them.
Very well. I imagine everybody is coming with,
Yes.
or are you leaving
I'll
some?
totally be there.
I assumed the bodyguard would be there, but you know, how dare I assume things?
You know what
Well-
assuming does.
Yes, it makes an ass out of you, but not me. You see what I did there, huh?
I do.
Yeah, so I imagine in a scene similar in some ways to the Cloud City on Bespin arrival, but also instead of just straight up clouds, it's fucking exhaust smoke and smoke clouds and clouds all around beneath a golden sun as you descend and arrive at some of the highest platforms of this. To call it a hive city does a standard imperial hive city some measure of injustice. This is not truly a hive city, but it could certainly be a hive city under the strictest of definitions. Population, square miles of land area, and its altitude reaches. But in the grand scheme of what might be considered an imperial hive city on a hive world somewhere else in the standard parts of the Imperium, this is a far cry. But waiting for you on an alcove or in an alcove off of a shuttle landing pad near the very top heights of the city are your nobles as described in those paragraphs. And Thale will lead the progression out off the shuttle unless you determine otherwise.
No, that's fine.
And he will come to a point roughly halfway between the shuttle and where the counselors are waiting, and kind of start forming like a bridge, as you were. And the counselors approach, and he introduces them one at a time. And for the viewing, for the viewers, rather, I should describe what they look like. Lord Torin Giltmark, Lord of the Merchants, serving effectively as the treasurer of the domain, is a tall and lean man with a very serious face, dressed in only the finest of materials and suits. Behind him is Lord Commander Renton Deal, commander of the Regius Guard and master of war. His dress uniform, while not imperial standard uniform, it is obviously a dress military uniform regardless. It is immaculate, perfectly tailored, and presents a very stiff, formal, and professional appearance. Renton himself is not a large man. Let's go with something like 5'8", 180. Has a tightly curated beard and mustache, adorning an otherwise unremarkable face, though his two fiery pits of coal staring out in the world that, we would call those eyeballs, but everybody else is like, nope, he's got a really intense stare. Behind him is the Lady Imona Passer, the spiritual leader of the domain, the head of the local church, and as we have discussed before, the church isn't exactly cult imperial, Alice, whatever. It is a for lack of a better thing to call it, a watered down derivative, because there has not been a formal communication connection between this offshoot and the actual cult for a few generations. So they kind of tried to do their best to follow, but as inevitably things drift over time. She is dressed in a very formal and loose set of robes with many symbols associated or derived from the cult imperialis and a few other smaller symbols of the local faith thrown in for good measure. To be clear, none of this stuff is or is intended to be um, oh god, I can't think of the word now. Sacrilegious, heretical, even.
Yeah, heretical.
Like these are all, while they may not necessarily be ordained, they're acceptable or at least tolerable. She is tall, middle-aged, and leans only slightly on her staff of office. She has blue eyes and blonde hair, very tightly pulled back into a bun. And then we have Cora de Maisal, the lady of the Underhive who is charged with the production of the Regis output. She is basically everything about her screams corporate supervisor of the local factory, middle management or very high middle management. Brown hair and eyes, nothing special about her features in any way. She's dressed very well in a well-fitted suit, but the style and cut and color almost gives it more of a work outfit appearance than it does an actual suit. It's still a suit. It's just maybe a little bit off of what fashion would otherwise consider to be formal attire. And then lastly, we have Lord Bergeron de Gransal, who is the Lord of the Crofters Union. And because he's the Lord of the Crofters Union, he is ranked slightly lower than the Lady of the Underhive, de Maisal. He is the foreman. If you want to use the corporate supervisor analogy, he would be the foreman reporting to the corporate supervisor, as you can see there in his description. And effectively what it is while de Maisal is charged with the production of the Regis output, it's usually de Gransal's family and those that they oversee that actually do the work to make it happen. Bergeron himself is a large, overweight man with clothes tailored to fit his ample frame, though they are not always of the best quality. Each of them will meet you and greet you and shake your hand, bowing, etc., and expressing their official condolences over the loss of your mother, and also expressing how excited they are that you have returned and that they can now, there's kind of like that, and now we can get back to work. Not that they haven't been doing work this whole entire time you've not been here, but there's that theme of now we can get to work. There is, and for this one, I kind of want you to make a perception roll for this one before I give you what this last little bit is. And anybody in the official greeting party can make this perception roll as well, if they want to.
Give me a minute. I forgot to pull up character sheet.
Rev absolutely nails this perception roll, by the way.
I should get a bonus for it being nobility anyway.
You don't even need it, though. You rolled so freaking low.
I know. I'm just saying.
Oh, man.
You said perception?
Yeah. Or awareness. I mean, awareness is perception, but whichever, well, you might have a bonus with awareness. I will also take, I'm sorry, I will also take, let me look at a character sheet really quick, because there's one or two other things that might be slightly better depending on the situation. I will take fellowship or anything that allows you to, like, gauge a person's demeanor or intent, like insight, even.
What about pure nobility?
I have high fellowship and pure nobility.
Yeah, that would. I'll say if you have pure nobility, that'll give you a +10 on it. So 62, probably close to passing, or close to failing.
What about a +10 to interactions with high authority in formal situations?
for you, or is that is pure nobility, isn't it?
No, that's etiquette.
Is that
Oh, does etiquette apply to this as well?
Etiquette.
sure? What was the number you were shooting for when you rolled that 62?
51, or I'm sorry, 61.
Oh, let's just call it a pass then.
Okay.
Well, I have a 59 and plus 20.
Oh yeah, Rev, you rolled that 5, so you're definitely good.
Well, that was perception. I thought you were asking for a second roll. Sorry.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. Is anybody else trying to get a temperature check on the Council of Nobles here? The Noble Council, whatever I want to call them. Alterios, I'm sorry, Jace or Reinhardt. Nope, not
Well,
Jace.
yes.
Not Jace. Icarus or Reinhardt.
Is Reinhardt clocking threats?
Sure. Reinhardt, well, from the descriptions, he thinks he likes the cut of the military man's jib.
Of
But
course.
but yes, Reinhardt he'll look around for threats.
Okay.
So just a standard.
Yep. If you have anything like pure nobility or etiquette for dealing with the nobility, you can take a plus 10 on it, but otherwise it'll just be challenging.
I do not. I do have a plus 10 to my awareness though.
Yes, because
So
not paranoia. Probably something else though.
no, because I trained it that way.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. So I'm at a 39 or lower, which is not great.
You
it's
can also
something.
use insight if that gives you a better option.
Insight. I don't see that I have that.
Insight is a skill. I'm not crazy, right? Well, I mean,
No,
I
it
am.
is not.
It's
I
not
am
a
crazy.
characteristic.
No, you're right. It's not insight. It's hang on. There's a scrutiny is the word I was looking. The skill title I was.
Scrutiny. No,
Yes, scrutiny is absolutely an option. I
Well,
apologize
they're both
for that.
under. They're both under perception. And I
Yeah,
imagine
they
are.
that his
They are.
my
a lot
awareness
better.
is going to be better.
Okay.
So
Yeah, awareness 10 versus scrutiny basic. It's always going to be better.
hey, look, I'm fine.
Okay. Icarus,
13 is well under 39.
Yes, it is. Icarus, are you gonna make a roll here, or are you still trying to figure out IT things? It's okay if the answer is IT things.
I'm still studying. First, we're in a room full of nobles.
Think more like a rooftop balcony sort of deal. But yes.
Mm-hmm.
And these are the nobles that are directly like if you have Rev's character on one level, they are exactly one level beneath him.
I think I'd have the wherewithal to try and see if any of them are being weird. I mean,
it's politics.
By the
They're
way,
all
my
being
honor
weird.
guard would have come off the shuttle either behind us or the other shuttle that landed and basically lined the balcony.
Yeah, absolutely. I see Icarus's green hand wandering all over the place, but it seems like it's just missing the roll spot. There he goes.
You click and drag, you didn't actually click.
Yeah, there he goes. Ooh. Okay, listen. Don't sweat it. It's not a huge miss for not making it. I'm not gonna make you waste a fate point unless you really want to. It's not that big of an idea, and also you can probably pick up on contextual clues from your compadres here. Amongst all of their warm welcomes, official greetings, sorry for your mother's passing, happy that you're here, let's get back to work. There is an absolutely undeniable undertone of concern. And when I say concern in that particular manner, I absolutely want you to think of that meme of the person with their, concern.
Is it everything is fine, guy, while the house is on fire? Or
No.
is it...
It's the guy that's steepling his fingers going, concern. As in, I am very concerned right now about your progress reports. It is that kind of concern.
Concern directed at me or about other things that they're not bringing to me?
It is ill-defined, But you rolled a 4, and one of your other guys rolled a 13. So I will say it gives the impression, like, it comes out strongest when they say something about getting back to work. It gives the impression that there are absolutely things that need to be addressed, but they themselves can't address them adequately without input from someone from a higher leadership position. Or that, not so much that they can't, it's just that it's not the norm for them to be dealing with some of these problems.
Well, the buck doesn't stop there, and that's not their responsibility. So,
Well, I'm sorry, what was that?
Do what?
No, what did you just say?
I said the buck doesn't stop there, meaning it doesn't stop with them.
Right.
They
right.
don't want the responsibility of making that decision, whatever it is.
Right. It's, yeah, again, it kind of gives the feeling like they could do it, but now that you're here, it's probably best that you intervene.
Right. Well,
with that, the counselors look towards Thale, and they look towards you, and they look kind of not exactly back at the door that would take them back inside.
well, I say, let us adjourn to whatever meeting room is prepared, and we shall discuss what it shall take to get back to work.
An excellent idea, Lord Commander. Please, this way. And they lead you into what could otherwise be considered your official council chambers. This would be the actual chamber where these individuals, along with you, whenever you're on planet, would meet. So think of something similar to the actual Senate floor, except not nearly so many seats. Perhaps an arched or arched table, not quite a round table because I don't want the Pendragon thing going on here. Like a large central table around which everybody could be seated, that there's only one person that could be at the head of, which is obviously the rogue trader. And then several other seats and workstations and a couple of hollow tanks and whatnot that are in more ancillary supporting positions for staffers and support techs and things of that nature. As you guys come in and take seats and get situated, there are some staff, servants and whatnot, that provide drinks for those that would like some. Mostly water and fruit beverages and small snacky type things. So like little crackers and cheese type deals. At the forefront, Cora de Mesal is. Oh, hold on. Let me see if I got this right. I think actually, once everybody gets situated, servants pass through handing out drinks and small snacks for those that want them. And once they get done, the council chambers fall silent again. We have moved now into the status of the domain chapter, for lack of a better thing to call it. Thale and Cora de Mesal exchange looks, and then Thale just kind of does a very subtle clearing of his throat and glances to you, Lord Captain. Before you respond, though, what is the rest of your retinue doing, not including your security guards, who are not needed in this room because there's already ample numbers of the Regius Guard posted?
Well, I mean, like, the guard is outside, but my bodyguard is still in the chambers.
Absolutely. I was referring more to your ship's troops that came down.
Well, you called him a bodyguard, and then you said your guard is not needed, so
I apologize for any miscommunication. Reinhardt obviously is in here because he would be considered part of your staff. Your ship's troops that would be traveling with you wherever you go can remain out on the balcony if you want.
Sure.
You have, like, the Regis Guard is sworn to you through.
At my right hand, for his valuable input, is Jeff the chef. No, I'm kidding.
I mean, if you want Jeff down here, he's down here.
Jeff, what do you think about the current situation? Well,
we need more sandwiches.
Have you tried blowing it up?
He's like, that's not a proper snack from our Lord Captain, and we need sandwiches.
Anyway, no, I have my retinue at the head of the table, essentially with me for council should they wish to be there.
Okay.
And elsewhere in the chamber should they wish to distance themselves while things are being discussed.
Sure.
Yes,
Arterios, that me perfectly. Except it's not an orc making that look. Sorry.
it will be. It will be later.
Yeah, could be. Yeah. So for you guys,
It's always
Icarus, Jace, Reinhardt. Reinhardt, I imagine you're not very far, like arm's length away from the Lord Captain.
Yep, pretty much.
And then Jace and Icarus, where are you guys? You're welcome to stay at the council table. There are sufficient support tables nearby that you could see that. Icarus, if you want, I'm gonna say Pythagoras and Archimedes, but I don't think I got one of their names right. They're absolutely there if you want them.
I don't go anywhere with the Zero Skulls.
Why would you?
What about your servitor?
The what?
Your new servitor. Did you bring?
Oh,
your,
the servitor.
Combat
the-
I don't
servitor?
think that would make a good impression.
I mean,
You mean with the big
there's a-
admiral's hat stapled to it? I thought that.
No, I think the less weird we appear, the better.
I mean, this is your home world. This is if you're gonna be weird, this is the place to do it. This is your home.
And also, a servitor with a literal gaudy cat on the top of it would literally be in perfect keeping for the retinue of a rogue.
Oh, yeah,
trader.
absolutely.
Okay, it's there too then if you want.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's do you want it? I'm like saying like it would be appropriate.
Oh, I didn't want to bring it because I thought it'd be a problem.
Okay, well then you didn't bring it. That's fine.
Okay.
So I imagine, since I occasionally have to add this, that winter is there, but more keeping to the shadows.
Sure. Yeah, we might play Winter as one of those like doesn't really like being around other people because the voices are loud.
Should you, at the GM's discretion, should she get a major vibe about something, I would appreciate if you would allow contextually that roll to happen.
I will endeavor to remember that because I usually don't think much about Winter unless I need her specifically for a thing. So I'll try to keep that in mind. And I realize that may sound a little snarky. I absolutely do not mean it that way. I mean, very literally, I may not think about it.
Is she getting any hidden psychic vibes off any of the present company?
If you ask her that, her response will be something along the lines of, "There's a little bit of tension, but not to be unexpected in the council chambers when the
Right,
rope."
but none of them are like none of them are secret psyker cultists.
No. You're definitely. She gives you the hand and arm signal for small yellow flags, 0 red flags.
Actually,
I have no idea what that would look like, but
I think we both have rogue traders can't, so we can pretend it's hand signal.
yes, yeah, that's a fair bet. Yeah. At any rate, Thale says, "Lord Captain, counselors, let us talk about the matter of the utmost importance, the coronation itself, for the sake of the people."
I lift up my hand.
Lord Captain.
I think there's a bit of an elephant in the room, Master Thale. Everyone, you seem to have some concern about an unstated issue, something preventing you from getting back to business, as you've said. The proper function of this world is more important than even me officially wearing the crown. So please, what exactly is the problem, and how do you believe we should address it?
Lord Captain, and this is I think Cora de Maisol speaks up first. Your
Actually, I would have called it pageantry because my coronation is simply that, pageantry.
Yes. Cora de Maisol speaks up first. There are concerns, Lord Captain, that mostly with the Regis output, as you should be aware, and when she says this particular line, she looks directly at Thale. As she says, "As you should be aware, the Regis output is what is needed for the domain and your ships to continue to function as they are. In order to produce the amounts of supplies and material needed, there is a certain amount of input required. Not to insult your intelligence, currently we are at about a 95% of the mandated output. We are projected to drop another 5% over the next 3 quarters, and the cause for this has been potentially identified as from a lack of shipping assets bringing in supplies from Amaris and the colonies. There is ultimately only so much that can be done here without the resources of the other worlds. Pending any interruptions, Torrin Guiltmark, the hold on, actually, nope, that's a totally unrelated task. Never mind, disregard that. Thale, kind of has a concerned look on his face. He's like, "Oh, I wasn't expecting that." And a something of a not necessarily a reproach or even admonishment, but definitely like maybe next time tell me some shit like that before you show up or before we show up and do this thing. Kind of look on his face.
Let's see. Have you identified the source of the shortage? Is it from the individual planets, or as you say, why is there a reduction of shipping capacity if it is the actual vessels themselves? Have we lost vessels?
Let's see. It is. We're not 100% certain if it is the lack of shipping assets or if it is a lack of produced material brought here for us to use. It may be a combination of that and possibly other factors that we're currently unaware of. What we do know is that if we need 100 bullets by the end of the year, we are currently looking at being 5 bullets short with the possibility of losing another 10 to 15 before we even get to the end of the year.
Well,
this obviously does not apply only to bullets. It applies to a wide variety of things as detailed in the Regius output. And when she says that, she taps the data slate in front of her to kind of give you like a subtle clue that if you there is an actual file that indicates very detailed and in depth of what exactly is in the Regius output. It's a very long, exhaustive list, ranging everywhere from fucking toilet paper to big sundry items like highly explosive, large caliber weapons.
Yes. Well, if the issue is shipping, I may have a redress to that. Currently,
you refer to, of course, the ships you've acquired already and just coming here.
I am. Particularly the Pursuit of Profit, a vessel capable of transporting a large amount of cargo.
Indeed. We look forward to that ship being employed in our service.
In the meantime, if additional cargo capacity of a smaller variety is required, I have acquired the services of an additional smaller ship that is currently in orbit with my flagship.
Yes, the Wolfpack Raider that came in on your wing. That ship is not well suited for cargo, though it can be used to some extent. We will have to inquire and figure out what exactly we can do with it and get it put to best use. Unless, of course, you're going to continue using it as an escort vessel for your own.
It may needs may that it should be an escort vessel till the other warship is repaired and in orbit, but should raiding itself be an issue, perhaps this is the beginning of some sort of regional defense force for the fleet or for our shipping concerns, in order to dissuade pirates or other opponents from contesting our space. We have just come from one of our outposts being raided, and that should be a matter for discussion as to how we re-equip and restore the full functionality of the astropathic choir.
Yes, we have received notification. We are looking into acquiring all the assets needed in order to put that station back into service. Our current projection is somewhere in the neighborhood of the next 6 to 18 months before we're able to have sufficient assets in place and embarked on the
Above
trip
the
to,
table, Pursuit of Profit's only a couple of months out from being ready to go, right?
presumably, and then of course the travel time for it to get here, and then the other ship, the fourth ship, whose name totally escapes me at the moment, is probably about 6 months or more behind that.
You did have them listed on a card here. That
You know what? You're right. And that card is not here because I forgot to save it to this game. Give me a second. There for a second. Oops. Blank. Oh yes, the Fell Hand. That was the 4th ship, and that's a. I'd have to look and see what it's. Oh well, that was the one that we decided that we could still kind of kit out for ourselves because we hadn't really. It doesn't
Well, whenever
already
you
exist
decide
in
it's
stats.
repaired, whenever you've decided it's getting close to being repaired, let us know and allow us
Yeah.
players to.
Yeah. So that ship
Clear the
obviously
craft.
will, and that is, I believe we determined if you guys were, you're a sword frigate, this would be whatever is one step newer up, from that, I think is what the terms were.
You said one step larger.
Correct.
There's not a ton listed in the book. I might have to go to some of the other books to find something slightly larger, but not too large.
Yeah, there's also Battlefleet Calixis. I think that's the name of the book. I'll have to take a
I
look
have that
in
one.
there.
That's one of the ones I was referring to.
Oh, you have that one. Okay. Oh, that's
I
right. You
believe I
got the
do.
Humble Bundle that came out a month or two ago.
I did not, but I do have Pirate Bay.
Okay. Parrot Bay is a liqueur, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
I've heard something about Tortuga.
Yes, I mentioned Parrot Bay.
Mm-hmm.
I believe coconut rum. But anyway, at any rate, yes, we look forward to putting these ships to service once they are readily available and we can find the appropriate positioning for them. Regarding, I think at this point, this is when Torin Giltmark, your treasurer, speaks up. He says, one of the secondary impacts of this reduced production is the impact on our proposed plans for the raising of a second hive city. Much of the local urbanization is already present. Assets are needed to be. Hold on, let me see what I said here. Much of the local urbanization is there. Assets are needed to convert the present situation into a larger and more organized, overarching envelopment.
Gentrification.
Sorry?
I said gentrification.
That's not where I was going with this, but that's funny that you say that. But this cannot be done without the output being resolved, as a large portion of the investment into the second city comes from the final percentages of the output. If I may, Lord Captain, consider a cup of water. When the cup is 80% full, most things are okay, and at 90% there is ample assets and supplies. But the last 5% of that cup was, from a budgetary and resourcing standpoint, was earmarked for the second hive project, and right now our projections, with the Regis output being lower than it should be, those final. Okay, let me back up just a little bit. Effectively, what he's trying to say.
I've got it.
Well, I want to be clear for everybody because I kind of mumbled some of that, and by everybody, I don't mean just you guys, but for the viewers. What he's trying to say is, for budgetary concerns, for the good of the economy and the populace, and all of the different things going on, by the end of the year, you guys will be good to go, but only barely, because what was supposed to have been left over was supposed to go to the second hive city. Now you can't do that, or if you do put assets towards the city, then everything else is going to suffer for it. And there's been identified shortages. That's about what he's trying to get at.
Looking through the material here, is there a specific what do the shortages fall under a specific category? Raw building materials. I'm guessing for a hive city. That is the food production at appropriate levels? What sort of raw resources? What worlds do they come from? I'm trying to narrow down the problem, and I'm probably pulling in someone with more of an analytical mind, like Icarus, to go over this material as well.
Absolutely. If anybody would like to take a quick research role into the reports that are being prepared, that are currently available on various data slates and being, what's the goddamn Warhammer version of the Wi-Fi? What's it called? It's like Etherics or something like that.
Oh, Etherics, yes. Well, that's kind of.
Is that what it's called?
That's more of a psychic thing, I thought.
It could be. I know they have. Regardless, there's a couple of people here with data slates that have all of these reports, and they're like whisking them to everybody so that they can see it. So if anybody wants to take a look at it and do a little bit of reading and researching and present a role to get the answer to this question, let's take Let's
Would
see.
logic work?
Logic, absolutely.
I have a machine interface unit. I am directly reading all of this with my brain.
Well, that's what reading is the use. I'm gonna shut up.
No, like I am scanning a lot of this into my head rather than simply reading it with.
I'll take logic definitely. If you've got anything scholastic lore and like, anything sort of like Imperium or governance, I'll take that with a +10. But that scholastic lore is very specific.
Can I invoke Air of Authority that I'm really pushing both the peons and the nobles here to give me their, like, rather than come up with an idea myself, I'm the man in charge. Can I use like Air of Authority or something along with Fellowship to push the people here to give me reasonable answers?
No, but here's why. You're getting the best answers you're gonna get from these people. It's not incompetence. It's if there's a shortcoming in what you're understanding, it's because you don't know the finer details of governance. If that makes sense. Like these guys.
Saying,
go ahead.
They have the raw data. If we're short on something, they can tell me we're short on steel. We're short on copper. Copper comes from this world.
Yes, I see where you're coming from. That you're looking for the very finite, specific causes, deficiencies, etc.
Well, I'm not looking for the causes.
Yeah, you're looking for the deficiencies.
Deficiencies, so I can determine the causes.
Yes, gotcha. Okay.
I just rolled a 25 out of 56.
I see that. Is anybody else making any rolls other than? I'm assuming Rev is either gonna make a roll or talk his way through it, which is fine.
Did you want?
I can make that logic roll if you want.
Yeah, please. In Rev, yeah, just if you want to make it, I can't think of a better roll for you to make. Really, is a logic roll. Oh wow, Icarus, holy shit, dude, a 2, really?
RP dice.
Yeah, dice be dicing. And I want to point out he went from the exact one end of the spectrum to the exact opposite end, and 2 rolls there. Rev, go ahead and give me that roll, and then Warner, if you want to make a roll. I don't know if your military mind can comprehend some of these things.
Well, would this be like a trained commerce roll, perhaps?
Ooh, commerce would be a good one. I'll give you a +10 on that. Because this definitely falls under the auspices of commerce.
Okay, so I need to...
Well, maybe not necessarily as the rules are written, but definitely this is commerce related, so I'll give you a +10 on that.
I lost the table.
Oh, tabbing?
Am I still on the table? Did I get kicked off?
Yeah, you're on there. I don't see your blue hand anywhere, though.
It's down at the bottom.
Oh, there it goes. It just zinged by. There it is. I see it. I see it.
All right. Well,
there he goes.
69. I've got to roll a 69 or lower.
Nice. You got 51. All right. Reinhardt, are you making a roll? Or you just kind of like, I'm a grunt. This does not concern me. Who do I kill?
What do you want me to shoot?
So I suppose that I could go with Tactica Imperialis or War.
I will allow
like
that, but
strategic stuff.
It's going to be at a -20 because of the oblique angle from what your subject is to what you're trying to find the answer to.
In which case, it would be better for me not to roll.
Okay. All right, fair enough. Those that did, and those that are paying attention to those talking about things, what you're coming up with is there are some deficiencies in some of the actual items being extracted and produced and then shipped to Regius. And that's where some of the deficiency in the product, why we're at 95 instead of 100. Some of the deficiencies are noted in labor output as well. Not so much that the workers are unmotivated or... I'm trying to think of the best way to phrase this. The output just isn't there.
Okay, so some of it's actually coming from an output shortage on Regius?
Output shortage on Regius, input shortage from sources, and some of that obviously is also related to shipping concerns not being at full
So
production.
I guess if I'm noticing a shortage of things, actually, like if it's because I'm going to be asking for answers because they just told me it was all an input shortage, and now I'm hearing that some of it is actually an output shortage from Regis itself.
Yes,
So
because they're missing some of those finer details effectively is what it is. They're missing some of the clues, or the problem can't possibly be in my house. It has to be in their house.
Well, I'm
But-
now
and
pointing
that-
out
I
that
wanna
there
be
is
clear.
a problem in their house.
Yeah, when that idea comes up, it can't be a problem in my house. It's got to be their house. It's not a divisive or derogatory. It's just you know how you kind of get blind to your own shortcomings, but it's easy to see shortcomings in others. It is the kind of mentality. It's what you're facing is a number of individual problems that are adding up to a kind of small but noticeable amount of concern.
Right. Well, what I'm essentially asking the people here is there a problem in management? Is there a problem in planetary morale? Why everyone needs to audit their own departments and find out why they have an output shortage, and I won't take it someone else's problem as an answer.
Very well, Lord Captain. We absolutely can do that. And you kind of see where
Now,
the
if there is
treasurer
a
is kind of like flipping through some of the notes and realizing, okay, yeah, maybe we should not throw stones in a glass house, and maybe we should clean the glass house before talking shit about.
and
other
for the
people's
raw
houses.
materials that we actually do see a pattern of shortage from, I want to know which worlds those come from. Are they coming from one of the colony worlds? Are they coming from what? I'm turning the map upside down so I can't see it again. Are they coming from Omaris? Are they coming from one of the other colony worlds? What is there a particular planetary source of materials shortage? Is my primary question, other than
It
clean up your
is
house.
Akalos, Halosk, Vitamar, and Taslok have all experienced reduced output for what they're expected to produce. Omaris is sitting at about a 98 to 99% of what it should be, which is, obviously not 100, but, within tolerable measurements or whatever. The specificity as to what is going on with the colony worlds has not been exactly identified. However, there is a note here. I got to read it real quick to make sure I don't give you too much information. Under the category of distant concerns, i.e., not relating specifically or directly here on world, Vitamar, it has been noted a message was received via a merchant ship roughly a month or so ago. The message itself was dated a few months older still, so this is all within the last 4 to 6 months of when this message was originally constructed. Orcs are suspected in the frontier once more, though nothing more solid or concrete. The local garrison is currently able to hold out but cannot actively pursue and must only remain on defensive posturing until reinforcements for a full-scale assault are available. Lastly, merchant ship reported an odd signature return near the far edge of the system prior to their departure. This is the same ship delivering this message. As they were leaving that system, they picked up an odd signature return at the opposite side of the system from where they were. They could only describe it as a drive system severely behind on maintenance rituals. But in order to maintain the shipping schedule, the merchant was unable to stick around to investigate further, but did everything possible to make for best speed to report this information to the council through House de Gransal's Crofter Union contacts. So it is possible. So if orcs are on the rise on Vitamar once again, that absolutely can have an impact on resource extraction and delivery.
Okay. How quickly can we get a message back to Footfall with the way things are?
I gotta open up a Word document. Give me just a second.
Especially with the choir down.
Let's see. Let's see. Repton from here, from start at Regius, go to Repton. Repton 4 is base 6 months travel. And then from from Repton to Footfall, I think was
So it
another
would have to
3
be
to 4 months.
a word sent physically.
Yes, yeah. That timeline was if a ship left Regius, went straight to Repton, and then from there went straight to Footfall. You're looking at a roughly 8 to 12 months travel time as a baseline. You guys can recall, I don't remember off the top of my head right now, your travel time from Footfall to here was in the order of about 6 months, give or take. If even less.
So there's no way, for example, we could travel to Repton using the choir facilities and the choir that we have, get a message through to Footfall, since it was positioned as a relay station.
Yeah. You're looking at anything from Jesus Christ. It could take up to 6 months to get from here to Repton, and then sending that psyker message. Yes,
Okay.
if that was the question you were trying
And
to answer.
there's no way to get a psyker message from here. We would have to travel to someplace closer to Footfall, like Repton.
Yeah, I think just given the way your domain is somewhat not necessarily isolated, but distant from Footfall, and therefore the rest of the Imperium, you kind of have to. I mean, that's pretty much the route you're looking at.
Okay. Well,
And that you don't have any super psychers on your crew.
Yeah. Well, I technically do. And
You've got
range of
do you have a Grey
psychic
Knight or one of those other librarians laying around?
No.
Okay.
I could get one though. Hold on.
Let me just pull one out of my pocket real quick.
All right. You're saying Winter's not a super psyker? How dare you?
She's just a psyker. She's good at what she does. She's just not that good.
So one of my first above the table, I was considering involving the Ordo Xenos for an orc incursion.
Mm-hmm.
However, that seems too timely of a solution
It would take too long to get assets out here to deal with it. You kind of have to deal with it on your own.
Well, I expected to mostly have to deal with it on my own. It was more of keeping them from becoming a problem again that I thought perhaps the Inquisition could become involved.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
yes. Sabrina Andrymos is Ordo Xeno. She probably could detach a couple of Death Watch if you were still on her good side when you showed up and asked for them.
What do you mean if? I gave her the item.
Yes. If you're still on her good side when you made contact with her again.
And why would I not be?
I didn't say there would be a particular reason. It's just the if conditional. Listen, 80% chance is still not a non-zero chance or not a 100 chance.
Great. The beacon's going to take her over and she's going to be hostile by the time.
The beacons are lit.
As soon as he said that, that was my first thought. And then I remembered, oh, no, that's what he's talking about. He's talking about that thing that y'all gave him. That I have identified for my own use. May have slipped once or twice, but...
It did.
Anyway.
No, I definitely calls slipped for aid.
If you
recall... You referred to it as a beacon-like object.
Did I?
Yes.
Well. Anyway. I also definitely let loose that there was orcs on this planet that I just now wove back into the main storyline as, yeah, there's orcs, and we know about it. We're trying to keep that situation contained.
Orcs.
Essentially...
Good.
I am going to be turning to the written Dale of Housedale.
Yes.
Asking him, where's Chip? And then...
Don't get it.
Chip and Dale.
No, that's what...
Rangers.
No. It's Deal.
What's the deal?
Your mom's dead. That's what the deal is. Ooh, too soon? Too soon?
Well...
I'm sorry. I should not have said that, even in joke.
IRL she was and came back, so that was like... Oof.
At any rate, you're turning to Renton Deal to ask him or tell him something.
Yes, I am addressing Lord Deal and seeing how many additional troops from the planet can be spared to assist with a orc incursion on an essential world of Vitamar.
Lord Captain, the Regius Guard is roughly regimental strength. We have additional assets to help with planetary security, but to deprive the home world, the throne world, of that security in order to chase down a threat the next star system or two over may not be the best course of action.
Planetary conscription it is.
I am not directly opposed, Lord Captain. I just would point out that conscription would produce poor results for riflemen. And when he says that particular part about poor skills in riflemen, he's looking directly at Reinhardt. Not in a "you're a shitty rifleman," but "back me up, brother" sort of way.
Mm-hmm.
As he is,
Conscripts do not tend to make the best of soldiers.
in fact, actually, yeah, Reinhardt, do you
Above
actually
the
say
tab-
that out loud in character?
Yes. Actually, I would... Hold on.
You have to do it in the German accent, of course.
Yeah, we need to get into the character first.
I'm sorry.
Above the table, I'm going to point out there's probably a 99% chance that Reinhardt himself is a conscript. That's where the Imperial Guard comes from.
Eh,
There are
Is it-
very few planets that rely on volunteers.
that's true.
So
There's a difference, though.
The difference between conscripts as sort of by, just
There's a difference between
bringing up the
mandatory
levies
service.
and a standing professional force that is frequently paid. The conscripts that are just calling up levies tend to suck as soldiers. I mean, you can give people some basic training in a short time, but they lack discipline and skill.
This Lord Captain, I
There's a
think you could.
professional military, standing forces that are paid and undergo training and drills would have a better outcome.
Yes, Lord Captain, I'm sure you can imagine that should we conscript large volumes of the local populace, which, to be clear, we can do, they would be no better than to use as cannon fodder and things to throw at the orcs in order to slow them down. Our better course of action would be to stop the orcs in their tracks if we are not in a position from which we can actually attack the orcs. Your mother led a similar expedition 2 years ago, and unfortunate that she fell in that fight, but that fight did, while not eradicate the orc presence, did knock them back long enough for Vitamar to exist as a colony for the last 2 years. Or however long it's been since your mother died.
I was going to say, it's been 2 years since my mother
It's
died.
been like close to a year to a year and a half from when she fell and Thale set off to go find you.
Okay.
And then, of course, your trip to Magoros and back. But yeah, so that's what Lord Commander Deal is getting on, is like, the orcs were obviously knocked back enough that it took them close to 2 years to rebuild to this point. Conscripts, he's not saying he won't do it if you tell him to do it, but throwing conscripts at the problem is really not going to do anything but be, honestly, at the end of the day, a waste of material and resources, not to mention lives.
Yes, very well. While I am away, Lord Dale, I would like you to draft up and potentially put into action a plan of action to begin preparing a large-scale reserve force that can be called up and expected to be competent in a short period of time.
Yes, I actually, Lord Captain, have been considering the raising of a second regiment, building on assets from the first. It would be the 2nd Regius Guard, to be used as a reserve force or as a quick reaction force for when the first itself would not be readily available. I will have those plans to you within a day or two. he gives you like a he gives you like a cover sheet version, which is just a couple of like basic outlines. It's like taking a company from each of the 3 battalions of the regiment, forming a single battalion and calling that the 2nd Regius Guard and building off of that. And then also like a plan for replacing the battalion's worth of troops taken from the 1st, as well as replenish or building up the numbers of the 2nd.
Yeah.
And a projected timeline of like a year in order to bring both regiments up to full strength, even though obviously the 2nd would not have nearly as much experience in the field as the 1st. There's also a footnote or two regarding space defense.
I am a little confused considering I basically have a regiment's worth of troops on board my ship, and the planet has a much larger population than that.
Your planet has not had a significant threat, which is why you have a standing guard of, not so well. Like, they're Imperial Guardsmen, but they don't have the experience of constant combat.
I'm like, we're on the frontier. They basically should be as wary as Cadians, if not, but not as well trained.
Sure, they're wary and paranoid. They're just not experienced.
That's what she said.
Lord Captain, there is an additional matter that we should address before we close for the day, unless there are other issues to resolve today.
Proceed.
Tasklock and Halisk the Third, or it's not Halisk the Third, Halisk 3. These systems are on the other side of the Dagger Storm. We do not normally maintain active communications and updates on a regular basis. They're kind of hit or miss by nature of being on the other side of that storm. However, it has been some time now since we have heard back from either of these colonial efforts. Perhaps checking them out should be placed on a higher than normal priority, but not necessarily an alarmist level of priority. Again, I would like to point out that the timeline established in putting those colonies together did allow for the fact that they would be remote from
here. Right. So and this is above the table, which planet was it that the navigator indicated, wasn't it Tazlak that she indicated she wished to make a journey towards, or was it Hannet?
Refresh my memory. What was the context of her wanting to go there for?
There was a potential additional beacon that her family wanted information on.
Yes, there was something to that effect, she said. Let's see. Refer to my notes. I don't remember what exactly I told you, but I will say that your navigator did indicate that Taslak is of a concern. Whatever the motivation was, I don't remember specifically. I believe there was something I believe it was something in the archives of House Mercator had indicated that there was a note of concern on that planet, possible relic, artifact, thing of concern. I don't remember specifically what I told you, but I do know what's in my notes.
That a potential beacon had been spotted in that planetary vicinity.
Is that what I told you? Because I don't remember.
That's concerning.
Well, it was a concern that was found on that planet.
No, it's concerning that I remember what you said better than you do.
It might be concerning for you, but for me, that was just Tuesday. Well, Wednesday, but you get
the idea. For me, it was Tuesday.
I don't trust my memory at this point. I have to make sure I write it down. I wish that was a little bit more of a joke than it is not. Taslak 5 does have let's call it the quest marker on it. But of course, all of your worlds have quest markers on them.
Yeah. So I will basically be proposing to both my inner circle and the council that the most logical course of action, especially considering there is possibly a orc raiding vessel in Vitamar, is after the coronation and a brief stay, possibly a few speeches to sort of pick up morale and see if that helps improve the productivity over the course of a couple of days while we prepare the ship for another journey. Taking both ships to deal with the orc raider threat, potentially leaving the other vessel as a deterrent for further incursions at Vitamar, and then Perilous, yes, and then proceeding on to Halisk and Tesla 5 with
Taslac 5 and Halosk 3. I don't know why I named them that way. I wish I'd given them better names now, but it's already codified as such, so canonized, if you will. Sorry, go ahead, Rev.
Anyway, Halogen 3 and Tesla 5.
No. Funny, but no. Fail.
On the other side of the cosmic phallic storm.
Also, did not intend for that to be like that. I was trying to use up some of the negative space, okay? I know how retarded that sounds. That's literally what I was trying to do. I needed some sort of
Some people call that a negative space, but
well, depends on what you're doing with it. Anyway, yeah, it was not intended to be that way.
Okay, fine. The cosmic femur.
Cosmic femur. Call it the dagger storm. That's what everybody else calls it.
Yes, that clearly looks like the hilt of a dagger.
Sure. Just don't look at it too hard.
Hard being the key word.
Or look at it.
Can't help but look at it. It's right there, sticking out at me.
Anyway, Jesus Christ, this
That's
got
what she said.
This got so inappropriate. Lord Captain, there is one final concern. No, there isn't. I really wanted to fucking break that up, but I just realized I actually don't have another thing to bring up. So,
well, the next concern, of course, is of most importance to me. It's the pageantry involving my coronation. Making sure that all the details are right. And I go into a big long list of all of my different titles and awards that I've supposedly won, all of the different things that are going to be included in my victory parade, including some of the different prisoners I've taken, including the rotting head of the pirate captain that's going to be on some sort of palanquin. The prisoners that I have, of course the now servitorized rogue trader that I have defeated in combat and will soon finish absorbing his realms.
That your minion defeated in single combat?
My minion, me.
Yes. I want to read something to you really quick.
The end result is that he's defeated.
I want to read something to you real quick. This is literally like the main chunk of my notes for the coordination sequence. Takes place when appropriate. I have nothing specific here, and I'm sure Rev will want to run it a certain way. Let him have it his way, but this scene takes place at the least. And there's a description of the small scene that I want to have. So, when you're having this conversation with your counselors, there's a lot of note-taking, a lot of suggestions, counter-suggestions, and agreements. And effectively, much like Burger King, you're getting it your way.
Yes.
Have it your way.
But there's a lot of detail, a lot of time and energy spent
I'm sure there's some Regius Children's Choir that needs to be involved.
Oh, absolutely.
Just to help win the favor
Absolutely.
of the local.
And it's not even a children's choir, it's cherubs. With Vox Hailers. Or Vox Loud Hailers.
I feel like this would bother Akaris, but
it's put together by the local omniscient ecumenical community. I don't even know what ecumenical means. It just felt like it needed to be in there.
I'm not saying it wasn't. I'm just saying that it would like Icarus. What are your thoughts on a literal cherub choir?
I hate it.
So here's the question: Would a cherub choir sing omniscience hymns, or would it sing the Cult Imperialis songs?
Well, given that you just said it was I thought. Wait, did you say it was by the local Mechanicum chapter, or that it was?
So for your
By the
world,
Cult
it
Imperials.
is the local Adeptus Mechanicus offshoot. My question, on the other hand, was a bit more generic than that.
No. I was asking who is putting it on because obviously it's gonna determine what they're singing.
Well, yeah. In this case, it's definitely the local Adeptus Mechanicus offshoot, in recognition of your house's existence and your ascension.
And of course, whatever anthem and theming music that the house has.
The House Van Breeze royal song, or whatever you want to call it.
The House Van Breeze royal song, an ancient dirge called X Gonna Give It to You.
I'm imagining this played with a full band and orchestra, not at all sounding like, the actual music song released in the 19 or whatever year it was that. God damn, I can't even think who it was now. Ludacris? No, not Ludacris.
DMX.
DMX, thank you. Sorry.
It's X Gonna Give It.
Yeah,
to
like
you.
I
mean,
my brain was running in like several different directions. I could not narrow it down, and that is not a genre of music I know very well. So,
how dare you?
I just don't. I'm literally wearing a Guns N' Roses shirt. Okay.
Next, you're gonna tell me you haven't been keeping up with the P Diddy scandal.
Which one?
Fair.
The fact that you had to say fair.
So I was a little surprised to find out that Axl Rose has measurably the largest range of any rock vocalist.
Yeah, he's actually got a range. He sounds really bad in many of those notes, but yeah, he's got a range. He's actually had operatic singing training. I don't know. There's a better term. I can't think of it, but
not gonna lie, I prefer Freddie.
Yes.
For my money, he is the best vocalist in rock music.
I can definitely get behind that statement if I don't necessarily agree with it. That's just a matter of opinion and taste.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There are definitely different, names that come up.
Oh yeah.
But his is one of them.
Oh, there's no denying Freddie Mercury was an amazing vocalist. Period.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting over here in a Lindsey Sterling shirt.
I know it's a name. I just don't know who that is.
I did not recognize that as one of hers.
Yes. And she is a violinist.
That might be why.
Well,
hold on. Is that?
Doesn't she sing occasionally?
Yes, she does sing as well.
That's what I thought. I know she'd had some vocalists on some of her stuff, but
is she the one that you could easily find like on YouTube? There's the violinist, and she's got like I want to say she's got like an Asian cast to her. No, am I thinking of somebody totally different?
That's a different violinist. Lindsay is she's one who sort of popularized mixing like trap and dubstep and other modern electronic genres with violin.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
She's kind of moved a bit past that now with some of her composing, but
sure. To get back on track.
Yeah.
Lord Captain, this is Thale asking you, by the way. In what order would you like to proceed with your events? He actually stops for a second, and he just kind of sets his data slate down, does one of those, like, rubs the bridge of his nose sort of deals. Your mother and your grandfather were strong supporters of this Oracle of the Void. Where do you see yourself falling on the for or against spectrum for this individual?
Well, I can't make any determinations until I've met them. Do their powers come from the sanction of the Emperor or the curse of the Warp?
I do not have the answer to that question, Lord Captain. Perhaps the best way to find out would be to meet with him. if you intend to meet with him.
I thought you said it was an old woman soothsayer before. Anyway,
I don't think I think it's always been a male.
I could swear you said a old female soothsayer warned my mother that she wasn't going to survive.
It's a good
Anyway.
possibility when I first wrote the character that they were female, and they didn't come up enough for me to remember that.
Fair enough. But
Or
they're
maybe
dude
it's, or maybe the Oracle is non-gender specific.
Oh my.
I actually kind of like that a little bit better for what I have planned for the Oracle, but that's not
now.
important.
They're like that star system over there. They're non-binary.
You mean a single star or more than 2 stars?
You tell me.
Well, I mean, it's definitively going to be one case or the other. It's going to be 1 or 3 or more.
No, stars can be on a spectrum.
Yes, I'm well aware of this. I'll be a good. Well, I'm not going to finish the rest of that. You know where that's going.
We can go back to the anyway. It was a joke.
Yeah. Ultimately, the question that Thale is presenting is, Lord Captain, if you were to meet with him, would you like to do it before or after your coronation?
Probably after. One doesn't go see the soothsayer before the. It seems bad form and bad luck to go see a soothsayer before a celebration.
That depends on what you see your coronation as. Is it a formality or is it a celebration?
A little bit of both. Column A, column B.
Okay. In that case, seeing the Oracle afterwards is, in either case, it's entirely up to you, but I understand your process.
So above the table, the way I picture this is coronation, which for the most part you can hand wave. I meant it's a big procession. It's a big gaudy procession where I make a big speech and we don't really have to dwell on it.
Huh?
Or we can role play it out if you want.
Now, there'll be some elements of both. Again, column A, column B.
The soothsayer, and then basically I've also been inquiring, have the deliveries arrived?
The deliveries are in possession. Or, no, hold on, let me rephrase that. The deliveries are on planet and are ready for presentation at your leisure. I was also going to recommend that perhaps after or just before the coronation would be the ideal time, but again, I defer to your judgment in this matter.
I was planning on more of an after party situation where the members of my retinue and possibly government officials are there to, and this is something I would probably tell Thale, but are there to watch and observe the people who have already benefited me receiving generosity.
Yes, of course. As you say, so coronation, gifts, and the Oracle, roughly that order before setting off again. I believe we will be heading to Vitamar first.
That would seem the most reasonable option, especially given the
nature of the threat, yes.
Where does the Oracle fall?
Sorry?
Did you mention the Oracle in that timeline?
Yes.
Yes, before we leave.
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially because I want to know what they told my mother about Vitamar. And why it was all a setup by Thale, and how soon does he turn on me?
Oh, Rev, you and your paranoid mind.
Anyway,
yes.
So I leave it to you as to how you wish to describe the procession. I've laid it out, and you can.
So shall we jump forward to the coronation?
Unless there's something else you want to do.
Sure.
I'm looking at the clock here.
Yes, there is actually. When the Oracle is brought up, there is a mixed reaction amongst your counselors. And I'm going to kind of highlight some of this. This may or may not change your ideas for your character, although I'm sure.
Is that an official I haven't met yet? May or may not?
No, it's not. Thale points out, of course, that the. Oh no, let me back up. Thale has already mentioned that Nomi and her father both regarded the Oracle as an advisor of sorts. The lady pastor, your religious and spiritual leader, is absolutely dead set against him even being recognized as anything relating to anything important, let alone an oracle. As one can imagine, of course, this falls back to the traditional theme of church versus witchcraft. There is
the local church officially recognizes the oracle as more witchy. That's disconcerting.
well from yes, yeah, basically the
Suffer not the witch to live.
yeah.
Also, she's the competition.
Yes, that I think the vibe you probably would get is more of the competition than the "thou shalt not suffer a witch to live." There's a fair amount of the "don't let the witch live," but more importantly is the competition in the spiritual conflict between the two houses, as it were. There is some concern across the rest of the council as to whether or not Borgadillo is going to regard the Oracle as an advisor. Some revere the Oracle and his wisdom, and there are others that, frankly, revile him. There is, in fact, it seems to be a bit of a, and this comes from not just the counselors specifically, but also the staffers that are in the background, providing support. There is some talk about whether or not he's actually human. He might actually be demon-made human appearance, but there's no definitive answer one way or the other. It's just that he certainly has been here for at least 100 years and has not aged one single day in that entire time.
Well, that's a thing.
Dadgummit, we've got an Eldar on the planet.
I knew as soon as I made that note,
Eldar
I knew as soon as I typed that, somebody's like, fuck, it's an Eldar.
Pointy ears. Just so you know, Reinhardt does not have an above average dislike of the Eldar, but he is still
a guardsman.
Standard imperial,
Yeah. No, I got you.
The phrase imperial... knife ear will happen.
Oh, yeah.
It just will.
And witches are not the only thing that the God Emperor says, thou shalt not suffer. Something about Xenos.
Xenos.
Yes. But rogue traders have a specific caveat for dealing with alien races.
Yeah, it reads something more like only when you must.
No, it reads something like, we officially sanction you to do the things that we're not going to talk about.
Yes, which includes Xenos deals.
Because they are the just for the record of anybody watching who's not familiar, they are the unofficial diplomats of the Empire who get to talk to alien races and make deals and negotiate outside of the Empire trade agreements for things that they actually need but can't admit they need.
So, moving to the coronation, I do have a small scene here. Excuse me. So, before we start that, is there any objection to moving to the coronation?
How esteemed, I'm probably asking some of them, on the down low, how esteemed was my mother? Was she revered? Was she tolerated? Was she celebrated?
You get almost, okay, so first off, the people that you talk to with this question, almost invariably, the answer you get was that your mother was loved, your family has always been revered.
By the way, when I'm asking this question, I'm making it clear. I don't want the official answer. I want to know my reception with the populace.
Yes. You get almost as an official response, despite your leanings or attempts, you get the official response of your mother was loved, your family was revered. You get the impression that for the most part, this is a legitimate, genuine feeling. There are some that are less open or less genuine with that feeling. You do not get any sort of open hostility or disrespect or anything of that nature, and it's not even veiled. It's just straight. You just don't get it. If there are people that are not happy with the Van Breeze line, they are not present or they are not vocal. everybody has drunk the Van Breeze Kool-Aid. Don't read into that line, please.
Kool-Aid, Kool-Aid,
Okay. I guess that
Kool-Aid.
level of reading into it is okay.
Well, just like
Is this referring back to that dagger storm?
No. No. You know, when Darius pops off with a comment like that, it usually takes a little while for it to come in from the far outside left field. But when it comes in, it comes in. Shut up, Darius. I'm joking, of course, just to be clear, because I can't see your facial expression because I have a Word document in the way. Shall we continue with the coronation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
it takes place. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say the Kool-Aid, much like Omar's comment, doesn't have a punchline.
No, that's very true. That's very true. The coronation takes place on a balcony of sorts, up again in the heights of the city, where all can see. There are cameras, and I'm sure they're called like pick thieves and things like that. There's drones all over the place. I want you to imagine, drone cameras all over the place, but I want you to imagine that they're, 40K drone cameras. So probably Serral skulls and cherubs flying around with pick thieves and whatnot. All of this is, of course, being broadcast all over the planet and throughout the rest of the system. The assemblage of the nobility and other dignitaries. And by other dignitaries, we're talking about, of course, the lesser houses of the world. Lady Passer leads a prayer to the God Emperor. Those that are devout worshippers.
Reinhardt is all in on that.
Yes, you will notice that some of her phrasing and some of her message is like a 85, 88% accuracy to what you would otherwise expect. It's like going from Catholic service or mass and going to, I don't know, anything else.
Anglican
or Orthodox would be the two closest.
Yeah, like it's a little bit off, but it's obvious that it's off. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But she leads a prayer to the God Emperor, and then she lays a crown of gold and bronze upon your head. And once crowned, the assembled nobility each in turn take a knee and pledge their fealty and lifelong service, starting with Marcellus Thale. And then they progress in the same order that I introduced them in, and the same order that they're listed in the Discord, because there is a ranking system, for lack of a better way to phrase it.
Once the major nobles have finished their traditional oaths, I raise my hand and I say, "People of Regis, it is my honor and privilege to be your new Lord Commander. I accept the responsibility of your protection and the duty to see a prosperous world for us all. I have already seen conflict. I have been ambushed. I have been attacked by pirates and contested with rogue traders alike. And I have come out victorious against them, as I plan on continuing to come out victorious. There are threats around and about. We must not reduce our vigilance. In fact, I'm putting in a call for any volunteers. We are increasing the size of the guard to make sure that this planet is vigilant and ready for any forthcoming threats. I myself am setting forth soon to pursue, eliminate those threats, and secure the general area for the peace and prosperity of us all. I thank you, as my loyal subjects, for your time and for your service."
All right, I want you to make a roll you're going to choose the skill from the ones I'm about to list. You can use Charm. You can use Deceive. You can use Intimidate. You can use there was one more. Where is it? Okay, I guess I'll go back to the other column. Or you can use the one that I was gonna decide not to. Where is it? God damn it. Oh, but no, we'll just go with that. So charm, deceive, or interrogate.
Intimidate.
You're going to intimidate your subjects. Okay.
Well, you said intimidate. You said interrogate.
Oh,
I just simply corrected you.
You're right. Yes. Yeah, I meant intimidate.
I am not interrogating via Vox my citizenry.
You're not interrogating your populace? Yeah. No, that makes sense. But yeah, you can choose which one.
So I'm going to go with charm, of course. I'm going to ask if etiquette, I also have my air of authority. I know it's more of command testing, but still, and I am literally projecting an air of authority. I also have fated for greatness and a renowned warrant, which I'm wondering why I bothered to take renowned warrant since it hasn't come into play at all ever.
I'll have to look and see what it does in order to give you something on it.
It basically means that there is a history, a weight, and a measure of all of its own simply by being the holder of the warrant that I have.
Yeah.
It in and of itself has a legacy and a history that commands respect.
Yeah. Well, I think I've translated some of that in the fact that you start off with a handful of planets, but
yeah.
I really, that might sound a little snide, but I definitely gave you a bit more than your traditional rogue captain or rogue trader starting package. So that is probably reflected in that, at least to some degree, mechanically speaking. That said, go ahead and take a plus 15 on this roll. Kind of doing a little extra weird modifier on it.
I already have a bonus 10 to my charm.
Sure.
So that's 25.
From train plus 10?
Yeah. So that puts me at 84.
Okay.
And I am tempted to burn. I'm going to go ahead and burn a plus 10 and make that a 94.
To be clear, you're using a fate point, not burning it. There is a distinction.
Yeah, fair. I'm using a.
Whew, it was a good thing you did.
Mm-hmm.
Your people love you. Brogadillo, Van Breeze, Gizbath, whatever, the third, the fourth, the fifth, and the first. They love it. The way you project your words, your choice of words, your emphasizing of various syllables over other syllables, they get the message. In fact, that day, roughly 200 individuals come forward and volunteer for the 2nd Regius Guard. That will be added to the roughly 500 of the 1st Battalion that will be drawn from, not remnants, but drawn from various portions of the 1st Guard. So your 2nd Guard regiment is starting to form, slowly, but starting to form. After your speech, as part of a, we'll say, closing of ceremonies, it is customary to gift each pledging noble either a gift with some personal meaning or with a sword, and a servant with a stash of swords nearby helps give you, like, basically the nobles form their line again in their rank from Thale first all the way down. You have a couple of servants with a stack of swords. I'm going to TM that, by the way. Stack of swords.
Stack of swords, TM.
Thank you. That was wonderful the way you just threw that in there. But yeah, so basically you're handing off these swords. Now, to be clear, these swords are not just props, and they're definitely made to look really nice and shiny and all that, but they are also serviceable weapons. And there's a meaning behind that, obviously, as the sword represents, in this case, because you're the one giving them the sword, it's representing that they are bound to you, but you are sworn to guard and protect them as much as they are sworn to guard and protect you. So there's this procession of giving out these swords, and then finally, after the coronation, there is the ceremony, or excuse me, after the coronation ceremony is the reception and feast, again, I have nothing specific planned here, but this would be an amazing time to do the gifts. And I think
Yes.
if we're careful
Yeah,
and
I can-
cognizant of time, we can get that done and then probably move into closeout.
Okay.
So please.
I have to ask: is there enough resources on this world for the party to do any sort of
Acquisitions?
purchasing? Yeah.
Yes, but I did not really consider that when I prepped for tonight. So let's see if we do that next week, and it will give
Okay.
you like a +10 positive modifier on top of whatever else you would come up with.
Well, I was gonna say, like, if we're doing acquisitions, given that it is a world, you might want to give us a negative to be fair, since it's not as well traveled as or supplied as football, probably in terms of material.
I would argue.
If you're gonna give us a +10, I'm gonna accept it, but I'm
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
say, I'm not. Whenever I argue for a bonus, I'm gonna be fair about it.
Yeah, no, and you do bring a valid point, but I would also like to argue that other than, I think what I'll do is I'll have to be like a sliding modifier, like up to a certain rarity, there's a +10, and beyond that, you don't get that +10 because of how cut off from the rest of the Imperium you are.
Right.
But also given the fact that Regius is fairly self-sufficient. Well, your domain is self-sufficient. You have a net balance of self-sufficiency.
We can do. I'm willing to wait a session for an acquisition roll, but just wanted to go ahead and mention that now. All right, so I guess it's time for the gifts.
Yes, and this is the part where, as I told Rev earlier today, I am now sliding the steering wheel over to his side of the car.
So there are basically I have brought out onto stage this, I'm assuming that whatever feasting hall or whatever that we're in has something resembling a elevated stage area, either off to the side or podium area.
Yeah, like your head table is pretty ostentatious and massive, but there is sufficient space on either side of the head table on this raised dais that you could be doing presentations.
Well, if the main table is on a raised dais itself, once the meal is concluded, I am having servants move the table.
Sure.
Or at least clear the table to the side.
Sure.
Several carts, containers are brought forward bearing several different size casks and crates. And I say, of my loyal servants, and I point to Acheron, I point to Winter, I point to Reinhardt and to Jace, and I say, you have all done me exceptional service so far. Who would step forward first and receive their gift? Guys.
He's talking to you guys.
Captain. If you do not mind, I will hold my place rather than stepping forward.
Well, Winter, all decorum aside, Winter comes up. I'm going to handle all her checks, but she basically, there is a black sort of case. And she opens it up, and there are several mechanical, essentially, pieces inside. And I go over to her, and I'm walking through a lot of her stuff because I don't want to waste a lot of time on somebody who's not actually here. There would have been some checks and other things, but essentially, over a fairly short period of time, with some other information from the people that I used to help acquire this, you see her snap off her hand. She because remember, both of her arms are artificial. She twists off her hand, one of her hands, and then takes one of these mechanical pieces, and it looks like almost like a child's drawing of a robotic hand. It has all sorts of cables and bits and bobs coming out at odd angles. It does not look like a very functional hand. But she snaps this hand on, and you actually see a scanner emit from the palm, and she looks very pleased with herself and goes and sits back down.
Cool.
New hands. Yay. Sorry, don't mind me.
Mechano stuff.
Now, Acheron, does Acheron take it, since it is a mechanical thing that she's messing with, do you take any particular note of what's going on with her?
Not particularly. She's a psyker. You.
Okay. All right.
Psyker with a bionic arm.
And who's next? Don't make me call names.
Oh, we might
I
have
will
to.
go ahead and step up forward next.
There is a think of like a hand cart from a hardware store. There are several there are several wooden crates similar to what you would see a have you ever seen like the sort of like wooden crates that like firearms are shipped in over long distances? They're designed so the forklift can pick them up and they're elongated.
Yep.
Okay. You see essentially 2 of those. And I hand
2.
you a crowbar. And I'm like, would you like to do the honors?
Sure, my Lord Captain. And I'll.
Do you want Omar, you want him to do a little strength check on the crates, or you just want to have him open?
Yeah. Just a strength test. We'll do challenging because it'll be funny.
I mean, it's
it's
pretty basic. Don't make him give him a slight chance to fail.
Yeah.
Just go ahead and roll for
strength challenging, and then if you fail, people will laugh at you. You can make it. You can do one of those cheesy salesman moments while you're on stage, like, "Oh, that didn't work. Let me try again," and then actually pass it.
You know, sometimes when you go to open something with a pry bar, you pry on the wrong nail and nothing happens.
Yeah.
Okay. Fine.
He's like, "Fine, I'll play your stupid reindeer game."
Well, like what is your
spend of 36.
Okay.
Give him a plus 10 or 20 at least. Come on.
Yeah.
Now. It's
well,
if
you're gonna put a fate point on it, that'll put you at 46. Let's go ahead and make a 66 on that. We'll give you a 2/3 chance of getting this right on the first try. Oh, look at that. He absolutely grabs the wrong nail to pry on.
Okay, so I just, without missing a beat, I make a gesture, and a couple of servants come up and help him pry it off.
Yeah, and one of them clearly says, "Oh, he must have loosened it already," because canned laughter and all that.
Inside, sitting on essentially like it's nestled in a chamber, but it's on essentially a bed of, it's in like straw packaging. You see some red gleaming. Do you go ahead and brush the straw off?
No, of course.
Okay. What you see is an arm, a hand and an arm. It's all in enameled in a it varies depending on how you look at it, from like a dark golden orange to a dark red, depending on how the lightning hit it. But it is a powered arm with augmented musculature sticking out from under it, ending in a power fist with a small bolter underneath the fist itself. In the second crate is a power pack and a harness. And I say, this is a gift that I got for you. The arm, as I'm told, should provide you additional strength and protection. And the power fist and the fist itself is actually a full power fist with a bolter attached. I pray that this serves you as well in combat as you have me.
Excellent, my Lord Commander.
So let me get you the card for that. I say we must take it to the range later for you to test it out. But
Now, is this like a replacement arm or a additional arm?
No, this is a arm you wear with a power pack and harness that goes with
the harness and power pack gives it power, and the harness is for supporting the weight of the arm. But basically, it's like an extra layer of armor to a point.
So you get additional.
You do get armor on that arm.
You get additional armor on the arm itself.
Yep.
You get a single shot bolt pistol that you can use, and you get a power fist.
And as we all know, bolt pistols.
It's like something that I put over my arm.
Yeah.
Yes. By the way, when I say single shot, I mean it's not a rapid fire.
This is Warhammer, so I mean, it could have
No,
very well
it
been a
could have been-
replacement
It
arm.
could
No,
very
no.
well have. That's a fair question.
Are you going ahead and trying it on here, or are you just admiring it in the case?
Rather than possibly be clumsy in front of all these people, I will leave it in the case for now.
Okay. I have misplaced the. Here it is. I sent everything to Omar earlier, so I have copies, but I just. This is essentially for you.
Okay.
And that's all the necessary stats. The only downside to the bolt pistol is that it does not have double shot. It's merely a single shot.
But it does have the tearing quality, which is you roll
And-
damage twice and take the better number.
And because I'm sneaky, I put 1 extra point of pin on it since it is only a single shot.
It was only supposed to have 3 pen instead of the 4 that you put on there.
No, the bolt pistol has 5 pin, and I gave it 6.
My notes here says 4 pen, clip 6.
Oh, sorry, I gave it a point of bonus damage. My apologies.
Yeah. Oh, 1d10 plus 5, but you've got 1d10 plus 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's what I did.
And then the melee, just so if you're not aware of that stat block, what that melee damage is saying is 2d10 plus your strength bonus times 2.
And because the arm actually has bonus strength, for the purposes of punching with that fist, you get an additional plus 10 to your strength.
Which translates to an additional point of damage.
2 points.
Yep.
Yes, yeah, sorry, yeah, you're right. Plus 2, actually. All right. So you have a pretty spazzy little weapon there.
So now remaining is Icarus and Reinhardt, and I believe Reinhardt has requested to go last. So Icarus, I believe it's your turn.
I love the image for this one, by the way. Just out there. Don't mind me.
Okay.
As you come up, it's a smaller cart with a wooden crate on it, but instead of being sort of the rough sort of shipping crate that Jace's came in, yours is more of a finely put together wooden box. It's not polished or anything like that, but it's clearly a little more put together with care. There's no gaps in the seams, and it's more of what you would expect something important to be shipped in.
You cut out there for a sec, Ruff.
Oh, can you still hear me?
It might be my connection.
I think he seemed fine. I wasn't paying attention, but
It's
came through.
a very finely put together wooden box. It's almost seamless. It's very well put together.
Uh-huh.
Almost like something that we would ship something more important in or more valuable. And this one isn't so much nailed shut as it has fasteners. Would you like me to open it, or do you?
Have your serval skulls do it with their non-moving jaws. Don't listen to
They
me.
have,
Don't listen to me.
they have tiny little manipulators. They can do
I
it
was
if they
gonna
wanted
say,
to.
You could do that for flavor too.
All right.
I think that would be hilarious, to be honest with you. Have Pythagoras and Archimedes just kind of float in and open it up, each one of them on a corner. Sorry, don't mind me. Don't mind me.
Yeah, I'll have that happen.
Okay.
What's in
So
the box?
What's in the box?
So you when you open the box,
Confetti shoots out.
this is the first thing that you notice. Essentially, and forgive me for not knowing if there's an actual term, but you see if there is a material in the future that's a combination between glass iron paper and static electrical paper, like you use for shipping computer chips, whatever is in there is wrapped in that. So it's something electronic and it's something valuable. Do you go ahead and unwrap it yourself or with the skulls?
I'll do that one myself.
Okay. So go ahead. What are your lures?
The Scholastic or Common or both.
Okay, I thought you had a Mechanicum lore.
There's Machine Cults for Common lore.
Okay. Um, give me a machine cult actually throw me a perception check first. Let's see how that works out for you.
Just
Well, based
flat
on the
perception.
previous rolls, 50-50 chance of being good or bad.
Yeah.
Looks like we
No,
landed.
that's
Actually,
over.
we landed middling this time.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's still over.
Okay. So, because there's a couple different ways you could identify this. Because tech use would also
There's
come into
Forbidden Lore Adeptus Mechanicus. That's what you're
that.
talking about.
That's
Or
what.
Archaeotech.
Yeah.
I think
If
that
you've got
Forbidden
if
Lore
you've
would
got
be really
if
good.
you if you've got those knowledges, I'll give you give me like a tech use plus 20, or a lore check plus 20. Your call.
They're both int, so it wouldn't matter anyway. And that's a pass.
Okay. If you haven't had your adrenaline glands removed, your hands are trembling.
Oh no, those probably went really quickly.
Those probably went in the fire long ago, my friend. Adrenaline? Who needs that when I've got
your
Medicaid?
mechadendrites. You've made a note in your log that you need to address why your mechadendrites just twitched.
Okay.
This is Dark Age technology. You recognize that almost instantly. This isn't even current. This is what looks like almost what you would think of as a prototype servo skull. But instead of the normal accoutrement that you might see depending on what its role is, this one has almost, with one of the points, with one of the corners centered on the back of the skull, and protruding into, sinking into the skull, you have a cube emerging from the back of this servo skull's skull.
From the back of the head. Basically.
Yeah.
There's a really cool image that he's going to give you here shortly. I really like this image.
So there is another interesting thing about this particular servo skull. It has a third optic in the middle of its forehead, and none of the optics are red; they're all blue. But it appears to be either off. Now, what sort of scanners do you have? Like, I know that you've got a couple of different devices that you can look at something with. If you have that, don't you have like a utility mechadendrite? If you're scanning it with utility mechadendrite, this thing still has a low level of power to it. You could potentially turn it on.
Oh.
Do you go ahead and try to do that?
Do it.
This is Dark Age stuff. I'm gonna be careful. I'm gonna take this into somewhere private.
He wants a secure location before he starts tampering with this.
Okay, well, put that aside. But we've still got some checks for you to do. It's just a private scene instead of a public one.
Yeah.
All right.
So let's go ahead and do that now, just to get out of the way and stay on the same track.
Oh, you want to do that stuff now with him? But
Yeah,
we'll do a flash forward instead of a flashback. It'll be a flash forward to later in the night.
Yeah.
Right. So we're in your labs. You've locked yourself away. You make sure nobody's around to see you fiddle with this Archaeotech. You are pumped as much as right. So what do you do?
Can be.
I guess I'll examine it for a way to power the thing on.
Okay, pretty simple. You know how servo skulls work. This is very simple. You don't even need to check. Do you turn it on?
Yeah.
Okay. The thing starts to power up. It doesn't rise up. It sort of starts to rise up and then sinks back down. It's basically unless you've removed it from the crate, it's in a cloth lined wooden cradle. Like, have you ever seen like when they're trying to ship something valuable and they've got like layers of wood with like a cloth lining that are sort of like cut out? It's essentially resting in a cradle like that. It sort of sinks back down onto it. And one of the eyes isn't lighting up. It's very dim. with the other two are bright blue. And it goes, hello, I am WRX4777. How can I assist you today?
Not supposed to talk. Vocoder. What?
I'm just picturing all the analytical servos in our Icarus's body just all went, huh?
I appear to be damaged. Would you like a damage assessment?
Affirmative.
My vocoder is malfunctioning, as well as my repulsors. Would you like alternate? I just forgot the word.
I wish I knew what word you were going to use because I would give it to you right
not
now.
navigation, but basically I was gonna. It's
alternate locomotion.
Alternate mobility mode.
It starts rolling around. That's going to be hilarious.
Affirmative.
Three straw. Sorry. From each side, 3 straw thin appendages from the cube pop out and bend at the middle. It is now standing on 6 spider-like legs.
He's just got a servo crab skull.
It starts to skitter around, and it's like legs functioning as intended.
You now have a servo skitter instead of a servo skull.
Right. Now, it does have repulsors that you can try to repair. It's recognizable technology.
Okay.
Do you want to go ahead and do it? Try to look at it, do a tech roll, see if you can see what's going on with the eye, maybe address why it's stuttering, or look at the, there's three different immediately noticeable issues that you can address. Which ones are you addressing?
I think the vocoder is probably the most offensive.
Okay. Go ahead. This is Dark Age technology, so we're looking at like a. Oh, you rolled before I could. This is like a minus. The vocoder is going to be the hardest thing.
Okay.
So, do you want to count that roll, or do you want me to tell you what you're? Because you might want to use fate and stuff.
Go ahead and tell me what it should be, and I'll reroll.
Okay. So this is Dark Age technology. So for the vocoder in particular, because it's actually sort of back inside the skull, it's because the mouth is closed. And it's Dark Age technology. You're probably looking at like a -50 to address the vocoder issue.
Ow.
Really number.
It's I told you it's the hardest.
Mm-hmm.
It's like off scale.
Punishing difficulty.
Is it? Well, I thought your tech use was really high. I'm sorry.
After I do all my other buffs,
I thought it basically would negate most of your buffs, but like I didn't think it was going to put you in the negative.
Your Adeptus Rock does not apply to a servo skull from 10,000 years ago. 20,000 years ago.
I think that makes it a 20. That's fine.
Otherwise it would.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
At -50, I think I might just pass that up and get that later then.
Okay. Like I feel like 20 is too punishing. Let's set the roll where you have to get above a 30 if you're willing to do that.
All right.
There's 2 levels of failure with this particular check, just to let you know.
Yeah, I'm not risking breaking the basically unique servo skitter.
Okay.
So.
Okay? Let me go ahead and preface this. You're not going to break it. You just don't know what's going to happen.
I'm not taking that chance.
Okay.
I'll go for the eye instead, I guess.
Go for the eyes, boo.
All right. So
Got him.
the eyes like a -10. It's basically you don't know why the eyes are blue. But it's using some parts. I mean, you can like if you're gonna just swap it out for one of the optics that you obviously have laying around for a servo type device, probably pretty simple interface change. Or you can try to repair the blue one, maybe a little bit harder. So
I'll-
it's like a -10, -20.
I'll try to repair the blue one, and I'll fate point that
-20.
up to a -10.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll do it.
All right. So you get the blue eye back working. It's like, thank you, sir.
Feeling sure like Ocoder's out.
I love how Altarius is just mumbling things to replicate his character. I don't understand. Like just
By the way,
thinking
Omar,
yeah.
we had talked about you doing the voice. If
Huh?
you don't want to do the voice in the future, you can send me what you want it to say.
Oh, I'm sure his voice will change slightly based because the actor was let go and a new actor was brought on mid-season, unexpectedly, no explanation.
from Peter Dinklage to Nolan North.
Yeah, sure. I was thinking more like Spartacus, but I couldn't remember.
That was a Destiny joke. They replaced the
Oh
your,
yeah,
your little,
I didn't even think about
your
that.
little ghost dude.
Yeah, I think that's actually what they're called. Aren't they called ghosts?
Mm-hmm.
The little AI thingies that float with you.
I forget the reason why, but there was supposedly a solid reason why they changed it.
Probably because Peter Dinklage got a better job in Game of Thrones. No, I think he was already famous for Game of Thrones, but
He was.
I think he was asking too much money.
that
That's
might
what I
be the
thought it was.
case.
Anyway, so the only issues left now are the I hate to break it to you, but the eye is mostly aesthetics. You've got a nicer looking.
Well, I mean, having 3 functioning eyes looks better than having 2.
Yeah. And he's got one that's. This is partly to see what the aesthetics are going to look like for you. 2 blue eyes and one red. Anyway, so now you've just got the. Is it going to be a spider skull or is it going to be a
Servo skull.
Are you going to try to restore the repulsor? And what does it do? You haven't actually found out what it does yet.
Yeah. How difficult is the repulsor looking?
The repulsor's not bad. It's a straightforward check. If you just it's got 3 little repulsors on the bottom, and you can clearly see which one's malfunctioning, and you can replace it with parts you've got. So just a straight check.
Okay.
Wow.
Is it 100?
Yeah, that was 100. You just rolled a
That's
fucking
really
100. I think you
That's
broke
really-
one of the
that's
other
really-
repulsors.
Fate point.
Yeah,
Watch
that's
this one
definitely
be
fate point worthy.
All right, so you did break. Here's what we're going with. You did break one of the other repulsors, but you're able to replace that one too.
It just takes up more
However,
resources.
As it's flying, and when it hovers in a spiral, like it flies forward in a spiral pattern. It does not fly straight.
So it moves through space like the sun moves through space.
Generally, like if it's trying to station keep, it basically hovers in a circle.
Okay.
Well, a circle with the directions of the circle being up and down,
Yeah.
and side to side,
Excuse me.
not in a halo.
Yep.
to be clear.
I think.
Which means when it's going forward, it becomes that spiral. Anyway, so the little spider legs retract. I was actually really looking forward to have it spider skitter up onto your shoulder.
That would be amazing.
But it's hovering now, and you can either try to fix the voice or ask him what he does, or you put him back in the box. Up to you.
I will save the vocoder for later. Maybe after a few more skill investments.
Okay. So it's a check you don't want to fail. I get you.
And I will ask it what it does. What is your purpose?
What's my purpose? Your purpose is to bring me butter.
I can't believe it's not butter.
I am a holder of the Wikipedia Arcanum, a collection of Earth's greatest minds in one single database.
That's actually really funny.
Essentially, at the GM's discretion, and I'll give you a card in just a second. At the GM's discretion, you have a Servo Skull Wikipedia that gives you a +1 lore check on whatever the GM decides is appropriate. Like it gives you
I'm
a
gonna
bonus.
immediately turn this thing into something
Sorry,
annoying
a
and have it
+1,
just
I mean
spit
like
out trivia to people.
When I say a +1 to a lore check, I mean like
+10.
+10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I put +1 on the card, but that I wasn't.
I think +10 is on there.
Okay.
You're probably thinking D&D.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can correct the card if I made a mistake, but here, let me get it for you. For some reason, when I'm doing that accent, I have to stand up.
Did you
It
know?
is kind of car salesman-y.
Yeah, he's definitely gonna start coming off like, did you know? During the dark age of technology, this was a normal thing. Several skulls that could talk and float around in spirals.
Yeah, I'm definitely having that thing just torment the crew randomly with
It's
trivia.
it's a thought for a day, except it's completely useless trivia knowledge.
Yeah.
Oh, Rev, once you give him that card, we got one other person, and then we got to wrap it up.
We do. So, did you get that, Alterios? I did put +10, not +1.
I saw the notification for it. Where did you put it?
Discord, probably.
Direct message to you on Discord.
Did you send him the image of the serval skull too? Because I think
I did.
I love that image. It's awesome. Is that AI generated, or is that just something you found on the internet?
Yeah. Well, basically, I beat an AI for about 6 hours to get that image out.
Yeah, that works. That works. Anyway, all right.
Good.
We go back to our previously scheduled festivity things, and we return to Rev presenting something for his esteemed arch-militant.
Yes. You have on it's another long cart, but in sort of modern day terminology to best describe it to you in a way that I think you'll get. You're essentially looking at what is a black ridged pelican case.
Okay.
I
Got you a gun.
Who would have guessed? No.
Actually, sorry. I have two different sets of notes for that. Bear with me. I just made my first mistake is pseudo GM. Instead, this is like it is a long rosewood looking case with 4 brass bands and latches to match.
Ooh, very pretty. All right. I will take it with care.
Yeah.
And gently unlock the bands and
No.
Oh.
This is slightly wider. If you hold your hands out, this whole case is a bit longer than shoulder width apart.
Okay. Well, I will still take it gently and open it.
When you open it on the inside in sort of I'm not sure what passes for foam, but essentially in a form-fitted, soft padded interior, like a black velvet lined with a form fitting, you see something unusual. It is a gun, but it's not quite like any you've probably seen before. What kind of lures do you have?
Lures?
Mm-hmm.
I have as follows.
And insert long
Common
list.
lore, war. Common lore, Imperial Guard. Scholastic lore, Tactica Imperialis. And forbidden lore, pirates.
Okay, this is I would say probably the Tactica.
Yeah.
Okay.
This weapon, it almost looks like it has some elements that look like some kind of las gun or hell gun, which come in a variety of different patterns.
Mm-hmm.
But it also has elements that look like plasma.
Ooh, very neat. Yeah. I guess.
So you pick it up.
Mhm.
Give me a since you know your way around weapons. Give me a perception check with a pretty big bonus for like
Okay.
sort of inspecting the weapon.
Perception. So I just straight up perception.
Do
Okay.
you want to add something to it?
Um.
Give me an argument.
I mean, my awareness is trained, but I don't know how that matters at all. So.
I'm not really sure awareness falls under this.
Yeah, this is definitely a
Yeah.
looking at and recognizing something.
All right. Perception then.
This would be more of a scrutiny.
So my perception is 29. My scrutiny is basic. So.
Well, I'm not saying it is a scrutiny check,
that's a
but I'm
40.
saying if you were
Yeah.
like trained in scrutiny, I'd give you a bonus.
I am not.
But you are skilled in weapons, so like I
That
said,
is true.
at least a plus 20 on this. Omar, do you think he deserves
'Kay.
more?
I think 20 is reasonable considering his extensive knowledge of weaponry.
Alrighty. In which case that'd be a 49. I'll spend a fate point to buff that to a 59, and we go.
Yes, I should mention, nestled in the weapons crate are several standard Imperial power packs that would work for a Hellgun or a
I was
Lass.
gonna say, what about like Lore Imperial Guard or something?
Mm.
Don't you
This
have
one, in this case, it's not applicable for the Imperial Guard lore.
Yeah.
that? Okay.
So I
Yeah.
did not make it.
Are you gonna
Okay, you
fate
didn't-
reroll that?
Yeah, I've not spent anything tonight, so I'll
Okay.
just do it again.
As well.
100.
That would be funny.
Much better.
Yeah.
Yes. So fairly quickly, near where the actual power packs go in, you see what appears to be some sort of activation switch. Now, as you're looking at it, you also notice that it has a motion tracker built into it.
Ooh. Well, this is very interesting.
Now, are you turning it on? Are you putting a power pack in and turning it on?
I will
Or is this a you're
yeah,
going to look at it?
I'll definitely
We could adjourn to the range where both you and
No, I'll
Jace could look over your weapons.
I'll put the power pack in.
Okay.
And
Let me give you some more details. The majority of this weapon is anodized black.
ooh.
Above the magazine near the trigger, it does have a strange skull logo in black and gray.
Okay. So it's tactical.
Right. It's mostly anodized black with a few minor white detailings on it. And it does seem like an odd mix of both angular and smooth. Like different parts of it appear shaped a little bit differently. Has Icarus is Icarus still observing? Does Icarus care about the gun?
Yeah, I think I'd be watching still.
Okay.
I'll make sure that the safety's on old Betsy and throw the power pack in and just bring it online. I'm not going to shoot it or anything. I just want to.
Right. As you power it on, from several slits in the weapon, from inside the weapon, a light blue glow begins to radiate and actually sort of creates an odd hue on the black of the weapon itself.
So, note to self: very cool, but not for stealth missions.
It also emits a noticeable hum.
Yeah, I will be testing this out very shortly. I'll power it down and pull the pack out.
Alturios, did you want to give me just give me a straight perception roll and I'll tell you if it passes or fails. I'm not actually going to go by what your perception is. I'm just trying to get this done quickly rather than put a bunch of bonuses on it.
Could you get the button? Fine, I'll be on the other side.
I gave up trying to do it from the other side.
Body.
Okay. You don't recognize this as any standard Imperial pattern.
Hmm.
Do you leave it alone, or do you want to investigate further?
I will simply make the statement: weapon equals foreign.
I
Um,
love the Icarus translation. Weapon equals foreign.
Right. So the only other thing you could examine, and it'd be a really hard roll, but there is that strange skull icon on the. I don't think you'd have any reason to recognize it, so it would be like a.
That would probably
Here
be
again,
like a minus
what-
50 to Scholastic
yeah.
lore sort of thing, or even
Well, it would be
Forbidden lore.
to Imperia Tactica or Imperial lore. Do you have any forbidden Imperial lores? No, this is
only,
sorry. This
arc.
sorry. The logo is more for Reinhardt.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
just pirates is the forbidden.
Okay.
I just said I've got War, Guard, and Tactica Imperialis, and Pirates.
Take
Those
your
are my
pick, but it's
lores.
going to be like minus 60.
All right,
I
I'm gonna
have
go with
Xenos.
the Imperialis. That
You might
and
not-
War are my highest, but Imperialis seems pretty good.
Okay.
And the skull iconography makes me think Imperial. So
Yeah. Oh,
all right.
The symbol itself particularly reeks of Imperial sort of styling.
So I'm gonna spend a fate point to pump that to 51, and we're gonna go with a roll. Hey, look at that.
You can go ahead and give it to him, Rev. It might,
Um.
we'll talk it up to like this may require some research into
Okay.
figuring out the symbol and maybe
Yeah,
not getting the answer right away. But
You may not get the answer right away, but let's say over the course of several days of looking at books and doing some other things, you have a little pit in your stomach. This, I probably don't even. My character doesn't even know this.
Mhm.
This is the symbol of the Ordo Assassinorum.
Ooh.
Dun, dun, dun.
This is the symbol of the agent, the organization that you know officially doesn't exist.
Officially doesn't exist.
With
But-
the reason why you
but
would know
We've
of this,
seen their handiwork.
yes, from the if you think about like I don't know what kind of experience you have with anything in the military, but this is one of those things where it's like because you are in a part of the military, your Imperial Guard, you've heard rumors, you've heard conjecture, you've heard speculation many times. A local commissar would be like, "Stop talking about that." Possibly somebody was severely punished or maybe even executed for not letting it go.
It would be
But
executed.
you definitely know that this organization exists, but nobody's allowed to speak of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way that you like as you're doing your research, you start to put things together, and you're like, oh no, oh this is so badass, but this is so scary.
And you're
Put a
also
piece of tape
probably-
over this symbol.
You're probably also thinking on some level, Lord Commander, what did you do?
Yeah, how did you get this?
Well, we're out far in the reaches,
Yes.
so
Probably okay. No commissars nearby. However, it doesn't change the fact that that initial gut reaction of
oh yes,
shit.
no, when I figure out that it is in any way related to the
to them.
black sites.
Yeah.
Hold on. There is a particular sub-chapter of the Ordo Assassinorum that I had it connected to. Give me 1 second. Since I was not expecting you to pass or make an inquiry. But I need to double check here.
Was it
Yes,
Evisor?
it was one of those things where a long time ago, I remember overhearing something that I shouldn't have outside of some higher officers.
Apparently,
Orders.
that image is one of the ones that got lost. But as I recall, this is basically the subgroup of let's shoot him from long range. It's the
Okay.
sniper.
Oh, Vindicare.
branch.
Yeah, you have that
Vindicare.
in the notes that I have, Rev. That link you sent me earlier today. It's the symbol of the Vindicare Temple of the Officio Assassinorum.
It's probably Vindicare. But,
It's yeah, it's probably how it's said, but yeah.
No.
And in the
Yeah.
interest of time,
I do have one more scene.
okay, it's got to be quick.
Yeah. We're basically both of them are going to the range.
Okay.
With
Oh, Jason Reinhardt with the new toys.
Right. So Reinhardt, with yours, it's basically you shoot it. Everything seems straightforward.
All right.
Are
you gonna tell him what the weapon is, though?
No.
Okay.
He has all the stats on the weapon. The weapon is called Strange Energy Rifle.
Strange Energy Rifle.
Sounds like a bluesy song. Like, Black Magic Woman.
The stats may be borrowed from something else, but the weapon itself is entirely of my own design.
Sure. Oh, I know. I don't know specifically, but I know what you're talking about because it's very much not an Imperium weapon.
Well,
it
the
is and isn't.
hint is gyro stabilized is not something that is Imperial.
Yeah.
It is and isn't.
Yes.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
The first hint you got about is and isn't is the fact that it's not a standard Imperial template.
Correct.
But it clearly has elements of an Imperial design.
Yes. This
very
was
small case use.
Somebody's putting some things together, yo.
Yes. For example, it uses standard power packs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so generally speaking, everything works as expected with yours. Jace, are you gonna punch anything and see that extra strength bonus, or try shooting your bolt attachment at some target downrange at whatever facilities are provided to us?
Of course.
Okay. So as you raise your fist to aim and you fire, you notice that you seem to be missing more than you would expect above the table, what translates to about a -10. What do you do to try to adjust, to sort of look into that, look at the arm? There is a solution.
Tech use?
You could, do you want to call a Karis over to help you look at the weapon?
No, I
Sure,
mean,
Jace
I
has
have
a
tech.
decent tech
Okay.
use.
Okay.
Or I can just look at the arm itself.
Yeah. Whatever you think's better. What's your, perception versus tech use? Like what do you think is better for you?
Perception's better.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a roll for that.
Not by much, but it is better.
Well, this should be like probably a +10, maybe even a +20. This is going to be a pretty simple check.
Okay. So which one is it? +10 or +20?
What's your perception?
51.
+20.
I'll spend a fate point on that.
Fair enough.
It still failed.
And still fail.
Kentucky windage it is.
I'll call on Icarus over to take a look at it.
Okay. I will tech use it. Oh, boom.
I will tech use.
I will re-roll that.
Oh my god.
You don't have any negatives here.
Yeah, he's just rolling really high. The 63 should have gotten through though.
Okay.
Yeah, it did.
Well, ironically, as you're examining the arm and looking at technically, he's holding his fist with his thumb up. His thumb generally pointed up.
Uh-huh.
Why would I do that?
Well, I'm saying if you make a fist, your thumb is on top of your hand. Like if you're holding a flag or a pole. That's how
Yeah.
you're shooting it.
Thumb would be down.
Well, yeah. The angle you have your
Not
hand at
up.
right now is what he's
No, I'm
referring
saying
to.
the thumb, your thumb itself is on the top of your hand, not on the side or on the bottom. You're not holding your hand at some weird angle or shooting gangster style. You're holding your arm straight out as if you were holding a dueling pistol, except the pistol is on the bottom of your hand. That's what I'm trying to describe.
Okay.
So as Alterios is examining your arm, he turns your fist, and when it gets to about what would be if your fist is at 12, as he turns it to what would be about the 9 or 8 o'clock, from the skull on the back of the wrist, a holographic sight appears. If you hold the fist at a slight angle, you get a red dot sight emerge. And now you get a +10 to aiming with it because it has a built-in red dot sight in the hand.
Okay.
I feel like Jason's standing there. He's
That's
like,
pretty
this isn't
freaking cool.
working. Why is this not working? I can't figure it out. Icarus comes over. He's like, oh, you have to turn your hand a little bit. Oh, this is really good.
Power toggle query.
Right?
Have you tried turning it on and off again?
Uh-huh.
Except in this case, it's merely a
90
minor user error.
Yeah.
It's a contextual on-off based on how you're holding your hand.
Yeah.
So you actually, so one of the reasons I kind of pictured that scenario is because you are used to shooting dueling style as a gentry and whatnot. So you wouldn't think to hold your gun sideways when you fired.
Yes, in this case, it is actually recommended that you fire your weapon gangster style.
Yes. Or at least at a slight oblique.
Yeah. All right. Is that everything?
Yeah, that's so far as I know.
All right, I'm going to slide the steering wheel back over to my side of the car now.
Since I did put a bunch of... do you want to save it for feedback, me asking how everybody likes their gifts?
Yeah, because we're actually going to do that right now. So go ahead and take 200 points of experience.
Yay!
As we complete our 6th episode of Crowns and Scepters. And we'll start with Reinhardt. Actually, let's start with Rev. We'll start with Rev. Feedback and outro comments. What do you got for us, Rev?
I mean, I enjoyed taking these somewhat reins for a bit. I hope no one found it too laborious. But
Rev is gone.
Oh.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
yes.
I heard you the whole time.
Huh.
You
I
enjoyed
just got
being
a little thing that said my internet connection was unstable, so that was my fault.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had that too, so it might not just be you.
Maybe it is Rev.
I'm making everyone unstable. I understand.
Yeah. No, that totally checks out.
But no, I enjoyed taking the somewhat reins for a little bit, even if it was a non-story specific thing. I hope no one else was bothered by it, or at least my style of handling it.
It was weird for me, but we don't need to get into that.
All right.
No, I'm joking. It really
So she said.
All right. Let's
What have
move
I done?
That's what Mark Krieg's ex-wife said.
Wow. Which one, though?
Oh.
Don't answer that.
All of them?
That checks out as well. Darius, what do you got for us? Feedback, outro comments?
Neat new toy.
Yeah, I should hope so.
I like that you made sure it was color-coded for me.
Well, it's sort of basically I would have probably told you if I had thought about some notes about this, but I thought about telling you that I had it repainted in somewhat of the trim of House Van Breeze, but that you were free to have it decorated as you saw fit.
Oh, red was the red coloring related to Von Onko?
Not that I know of.
You mentioned the coloring for a reason.
When he was setting up his character, he asked what the colors of Van Breeze were. So his colors match the house colors.
Okay, I got it.
Which makes sense for one who would have graduated from said academy.
Yeah. Nice new toy for you. You got anything else?
Yep. No, that's it.
All right. Icarus. Nope. Sorry. I moved too fast.
No, go ahead.
Alturios, what do you got?
I like the gift. I will enjoy seeing what random bullshit it comes up to torment the crew with.
I see now I'm gonna have to in my prep. I'm gonna have to have like 3 or 4 things just on standby, ready to go at a moment's notice to drop them. Especially if you go with the random thought of the day, because right now it's supposed to be more contextual. The random thing that gets thrown out there. In fact, I had a list of Serval Skull related things. I was getting ready to pop one at you, but you guys kept going, and I didn't want to interrupt with your querying and diagnostics and trying to fix the stupid thing. So I'll have to save that for next time.
Just to let you know, if you'd gotten a minor fail, the stutter might have gotten worse, or the voice had other problems. But if you'd really failed, Omar probably won't do this to you, so I'm going to go ahead and tell you. If you'd really failed, it would have said, switching to child entertainment mode, and I would have done my best Nickelodeon DJ impersonation.
I can't even do a Nickelodeon.
Hey, dude! I'm the Wikipedia Servo Skull. How are you today? Radical!
I'm going to mute you now.
That checks out. It'll be fun to try to come up with things that sound like this whenever I say them.
What a little more emphasis
too.
Lots of dudes, and rads, and woes. But that probably won't happen now, since the reason I'm telling you is because you said you're going to try to make very sure that you succeed on the roll. So
yeah. Warner, what do you got for us? Feedback, outro comments, etc.
Note for self, I should definitely be talking to Mr. Renton Dele.
Yes.
And commiserating and trying to make friends and seeing what I can learn. How I can be of service. All of that stuff. Because
one military commander to another.
that character absolutely screams for, hey, this is somebody for you to interact with. So I should probably do that.
Well, it's cool that you think that. And I don't want you to misunderstand me when I say this. I didn't build him or create him for that role. It's awesome that you're going that way. So now that is an angle that will be explored. Don't misunderstand me. I initially sat there and was like, okay, here's this hive city. Who are the most important people that would probably be the noble council or the council advisors for the lord of the planet, right? And so, well, obviously somebody's got to be in charge of the money. That's the treasurer guy. Probably some sort of spiritual leader. That's the lady passer. What's her face? We've obviously got the oracle. So those two are obviously going to have some beef. Because one is closer to being sanctioned and the other one is not. We've got to have somebody who's in charge of the military. There's Renton Deal. And then we have to have at least one person representing the bowels of the hive city. And then one person that's in charge of putting all of the bullshit factory work together. And then I was gonna those two, their roles are supposed to complement each other, but maybe they don't like each other. So that's where I came up with all of that for your.
Or maybe
council.
they like each other so much that they refuse to admit that they like each other, and
maybe
are going to get
you know
married
what?
at
You know what?
future
Maybe
point in time.
Yeah, maybe there will be some weird sexual tension that will never get fully explored because they are minor backup characters. But if they ever get graduated to important characters, maybe that will be explored. Or maybe one of them will just die to some horrible flesh-eating disease.
I mean, those aren't mutually exclusive.
You're not wrong.
Right.
All of that. In fact, it's even better for Warhammer for all of that to happen. Sorry, Warner, I didn't mean to steal your thunder. Please continue if you had anything else.
It's fine. The new toy is very cool. and
Yeah.
and that'll be very enjoyed, I'm sure. I'm running out of space on my character sheet to put my weapons, so I am writing it in the gear section.
Well, that's where it's supposed to go, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's not in one of the nice little already formatted weapon cards. So
Oh,
I'm
in
just
the stat blocks. Gotcha.
yes.
We need to get Reinhardt extra hands so he can just like whip out all his guns and just go blazing.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
Oh man, I'm trying to think where it definitely has Looney Tunes moment where it's just like somebody that all of a sudden like the octopus arms come out, each one's got a gun on it. This
Yeah.
definitely feels Looney Tunes, but I feel like it was
the-
also
the-
in some sort of some sort of techie sort of
There has
show.
to be one.
The
there has
Looney
to be at
Tunes
least-
thing that I think of is where everybody keeps pulling out the bigger gun
Oh yeah, that's
The
also a Reinhardt
escalation
move, by the way,
back and forth.
which is also a Reinhardt move. I feel.
Yes, it is.
Oh no, I've got more. Keep going. I can keep escalating for days.
That's not a knife. This is a knife.
Eventually, what's the 40K artillery guns? They're like ground shakers or something like that. I think they're called.
Yeah, well, there's the Earth Shaker cannons, I believe they call
Yeah,
them.
it eventually just ends up with Reinhardt. Reinhardt doing one of these poses on top of one of them, and then behind him is like another like 50 of them, just like, and I win.
To whom it may concern.
Yeah. All right. Anybody else? Any other final
And then I
thoughts?
come in from the side with the ship.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. The Acheron's ferry shows up overhead with all of its guns exposed.
Oh my.
All right, that is it for us here tonight. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for showing up. Hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, please, as always, consider mashing all of the buttons, or you could join us on the Discord and come hang out with us there. If you're watching a live stream, you can type !Discord in the stream chat. If you're watching the video on YouTube, in the description block, you'll see a link for our Discord server. Come hang out with us. Come tell us what we're doing right. Tell us what we're doing wrong. Or just lurk in the shadows. That's always acceptable as well. Meanwhile, this world is a crazy, grim, dark world, so make sure you're doing what you got to do to take care of you and yours. And as for me and mine, we are out of here. See you next time. Have a good
Auf
one.
Wiedersehen.
Bye.